Did you start to turn the corner and maybe give Chris Greer the benefit of the doubt when the Dolphins were beating all of these schmenk teams? If you looked at the list of quarterbacks that they defeated during that stretch, it was all backups.
Yes.
It was guys that hadn't even made the practice squad in the preseason that got re-signed.
Yep.
I think even some of these guys might have played for the Heat. Nick Wallenda, unbelievable. What was his latest that he was like walking across two buildings in New York City, which would be much more dangerous if you were on the ground, if you look at what's going on in New York City, would it not? Would you rather be on a tightrope crossing, say, Madison Avenue? Of course, no matter how treacherous, no matter how windy. That still is one of my, visions that I will never be able to erase when Osteen was making out with Nick Wallenda's wife while he was saying, "Pray for me, Joel." And he's sitting on the side of the canyon there going, "I don't think you're going to make it back, Nick. You know, the Lord has chosen a path for you, and it's not necessarily a favorable one right now in terms of crossing the canyon."
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
A very special good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on what is a couple of days before D-Day, or what might be known as Black Sunday, with over $8 billion scheduled to be wagered on the Super Bowl. That's legal wagers. So can you imagine, Louis, what the total the total pool is going to be in Super Bowl wagering? All types of different stuff on the table today. And that's why we're here.
Yes.
To help you decipher, to help you deduce, to help you make brilliant selections when it comes to your Super Bowl wagering, because nothing is more enjoyable than after the parties are over and the final score is tallied and all the analysis is turned to paralysis and we know what the outcome of the game is and the various proposition bets. Nothing is more favorable than cashing a giant ticket
Exactly.
on an assortment of bets. So Mark Lawrence is going to join us. Now, Mark usually doesn't give out the side in the game. We know which way he would be going.
Yeah.
He would not be able to break from tradition, and the entire universe is all over the Rams to the point, Lubie, where it's becoming very difficult for me to ignore the logic. This gets back to that whole thing about don't bet against the devil with the Nick Saban thing in the Georgia game. Second time around, right? All logic would have dictated that Georgia would have beaten the snot out of the Alabama Crimson Tide in that SEC championship game. And yet, there it was. Alabama prevails. Not only prevails, but does it in convincing fashion. And we kind of got backslapped a little bit on that, right? It was like a spinning back kick in a UFC match where our teeth came spilling out of our mouth like chiclets as we didn't want to bet against the devil. And Georgia did find a way to right the ship and turn things around. And all of a sudden, all of that brilliant logic that was applied to the SEC championship game that went up in smoke was applicable. And, what you thought would have happened in the first place actually happened the second time around. So we'll see. All logic. And the more I read about this, Mike Lubitz, I know you're convinced the Rams are going to win this game. And I am convinced that if you were just going to go by wisdom and any measuring stick, any type of barometer that you were going to use to decide which was the more favorable opponent in this game, all of it leads to the Los Angeles Rams in this one. Just about everything, including the fact, Matthew Stafford may not be great. He may be error-prone. He may be trying to make amends for all those miserable years. Everybody wants to make excuses for Matthew Stafford, saying that he played on those lousy Detroit teams, those godforsaken Detroit teams. But he also played on some good Detroit teams.
Yeah.
And wasn't able to get over the proverbial gigantic camel-like hump. It's like the speed bumps at an old-age condominium, the bump that he had to get over, and could not win playoff games. And we've seen a penchant for, as we said yesterday, pinning the needle into the chokeometer already in the postseason and in the last game of the regular season with Matthew Stafford. So it's quite possible that he makes the big blunder that puts Cincinnati in the mix to possibly win the game and score the big upset, which isn't all that huge because the line is at 4 points now, Mike Lubitz, a solid 4. It's an oddball number. We'll get into it with Mark Lawrence later on, the meaning of 4 versus 3, because most people would say if a line is 3 and a hook, that you should buy the half a point and make sure that you're looking at, if you win by a field goal, buy a point, I guess. I don't know what that costs you in terms of having a lay vigorish, or the juice, as they call it. In other words, you might have to spend $150 to win 100 if you're buying a point with the Cincinnati Bengals or with the Rams. So either way, it's going to be a little bit prohibitive in terms of the profit that you're going to make to try and insure. The more insurance you buy, Lubie, the less profit you're going to make. That's kind of the way that gambling works. But all logic. I just read something as I was getting ready for the show there, reading my New York Post on the throne, some analysis from a handicapper, and every sign points to the Los Angeles Rams in this game. They're better on offense, they're better on defense, and they're better on special teams.
And they should have the better coach. He's already coached in the Super Bowl.
McVay taught this guy how to coach, for God's sake, Zach Taylor. So, does the teacher school the pupil or vice versa? It's not like McVay is going against Belichick this time, as he did the previous time that they were in the Super Bowl, the Rams. And what was that? Was that McVay's first year? And they lost 13-3. And all of a sudden, the most prolific, explosive offense that we've seen since Kurt Warner was chucking a rock for the Rams. And, had those phenomenal wide receivers and was putting points on the board. It was like the old mouse cartoons. You missed out on this where, they'd score like 100 runs and they're mamboing around the bases. Bump, 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 bump. And the scoreboard's just rolling, 101, 102, 103. That was kind of that Rams offense back in the day with Kurt Warner when he was winning MVPs and taking the Rams into Super Bowls. But they had an offense that was pretty close to that level of explosiveness that year. Remember? I mean, wasn't that the year that they had that big shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs that was like 55-49 or whatever? And it was the greatest game that we'd seen since Marino was going against the Jets in the shootout game against Ken O'Brien. And, wow, I mean, you thought, no way they'd get limited to 3 points, which they did. So we've seen McVay get schooled by a mastermind like Bill Belichick, and yet at the same time, it seems unlikely that the guy that he brought along, that he brought to prominence, Zach Taylor, is going to come out and figure out a way to absolutely decode and diffuse whatever it is that McVay has to offer. And I don't know that Stafford's an upgrade from Jared Goff, who was quarterbacking in that game for the Los Angeles Rams and had a horrible game. So he's less likely to be that putrid in a Super Bowl game than Goff was a few years ago against the New England Patriots. And he's also, I don't know, is Joe Burrow really at the level of Tom Brady when it comes to, Brady didn't do much in that ball game either, scoring 13 points. But the last time McVay was in a Super Bowl, excuse me, I need a drink. He was choking to death. Absolutely choked on him. Now, and that kind of plays into another theory about championships, which is Cincinnati, the upstart team. They were downtrodden. They got the number 1 overall pick because they stunk. And they come back, they make a few bold moves, make a few corrections on certain positions they were weak at, and then they get Jamar Chase with the 5th pick in the draft this year, who, by the way, was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jalen Waddle made a pretty good case for being Offensive Rookie of the Year. The awards were given out last night at a celebration there at the Super Bowl site, and it looked pretty festive. Aaron Rodgers, again, the MVP.
Oh, he was MVP. Oh, wow.
MVP, Aaron Rodgers.
That's great.
I mean, this was a guy. Remember that? He was in the fetal position there.
Yes.
He really did look like LaDainian Tomlinson, with his helmet on and like just his underwear. He's at the end of the bench, crawled up like a homeless guy. Kind of guy that you pass. When I was running up Sutphin Boulevard to get from the subway station to the Jamaica Railroad station for the Long Island Railroad, so that, and I was leaving Shea Stadium late at night when I was vending at Shea, and I would run by, and, you'd look over and just glance in the doorway to see if there was some guy with a gun in there. And you'd see a guy sleeping in a doorway. And I have, as I've said many times, great empathy and sympathy for homeless people and the struggles. I mean, it's got to be, imagine this, Lubie. I mean, you tucked yourself into a nice, cozy bed last night. It's got to be tough.
Oh, no.
Right?
I can't imagine.
I mean, it could easily lead to all kinds of different levels of insanity if they weren't already blossoming to put that person in that position in the first place. But that's exactly how Aaron Rodgers looked in that first game, did he not? Especially with the scraggly hair and the half-baked beard that he had. And it looked like he lost a lot of weight, like he hadn't been eating.
Yep.
And all off season. I mean, think about it from like the draft on last year. It was all about Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he hated the Green Bay Packers and how badly he wanted out of there and what team he was going to go to. And he went nowhere. And then he goes on and wins the MVP this year. That's the kind of NFL season that it was. And I don't know that you could argue with that. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. Brady was probably the other top candidate. And this, I would imagine, is just decided on the regular season.
Yes. But Brady had a
But,
better regular season.
Well, I mean, if you look at the way that Green Bay was performing, and Rodgers again had over 35 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
I think he might have had 35 right on the number, but it was either 35 plus, 35 or 35 plus, and less than 5 interceptions.
Yeah, no, Rodgers had a phenomenal year. Brady just had a similar touchdown.
Statistically, he was better.
He had more
in terms of yards and all
Rodgers
that.
had a better touchdown to interception ratio, but I think Brady had like 1,000 more, like some ludicrous number of more yards than Rodgers. And I mean, his team was good.
Yeah.
So-
Well, Rodgers won the MVP, and Micah Parsons was he ran unopposed. It was like one of those deals where you see the crooked politician, and nobody bothers to challenge the guy because he wins the district every year by like 98% of the vote.
Parsons won Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie.
Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Chase was Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, T.J. Watt won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He tied the freaking
23 and a half sacks. Although those records, I mean, with the extra game, Lubie.
Yeah, but the thing with Watt missed 3 games.
All
Watt
right.
only played 14 games. So, like, when people try to do that, like Strahan was like, well, it's like Strahan, first of all. Favre gave you the record. But second, the dude missed 3 games. So, yeah.
I mean, when Favre just did a pratfall, Jerry Lewis couldn't have faked a pratfall any better than Favre did when he went down there. Hey, Michael, you need this one? Okay.
You gave him a high five.
Slaps him a high five for setting a record.
Like the weirdest thing.
See, I'm hypocritical on this at this point. Myself, I'm being hypocritical because I always was an advocate of the idea that Roger Maris's 61 home runs should be the season-long record. Now, he had 8 more games than the Bambino, and that was the big issue. And that's what where the birth of the asterisk in any sports conversation came up. A disgusting, trivial, ridiculously stupid argument. Should there be an asterisk there? No, it's either the record or it's not, which is how I feel about the Hall of Fame and the stiff job that happened with Zach Thomas once again.
Annoying.
I know I'm biased. I love Zach. I got to know Zach. I've seen him around town. It hasn't been, I guess it's been about a year since I ran into him at the Fish Shack in Lighthouse Point. And that was when it really was a shack.
Yeah.
The Fish Shack in Lighthouse Point. It was a hole-in-the-wall restaurant with just dynamite seafood, maybe the best that you'll find in terms of fresh seafood anywhere in America, being served at the Fish Shack in Lighthouse Point, Florida. And they moved to a larger location. It's still not like a giant place, but
it's like a
certainly was an upgrade from the conditions that you would have to put up with just because they had the best food in town at reasonable prices. It was also a tremendous value. It's not cheap, but tremendous value. And Zach loves the place, so I ran into them there a couple of times. I would have to say that was circa maybe a couple of years back. And wow, what a delightful human being. I mean, just an amazing guy. Nobody could dislike Zach Thomas. And the argument now is if Sam Mills is a Hall of Famer and he got in on this year's selection.
So he did pass in the early 2000s.
How could Zach not be in? And the other one that comes up, he was a more imposing figure and a much more universally known figure, Brian Urlacher. I guess, he had the look of a middle linebacker with the Chicago Bears, and he was an excellent player. I don't say that Brian Urlacher should not be a Hall of Famer, but Zach Thomas had a better career than Brian Urlacher in the long run.
Yes, that one.
By far. Yeah. I go back, and once again, the wisdom of one of my dear friends in the business for a long, long time. Haven't seen him for a while, but wow. I mean, this guy had some avant-garde type of theories, what was absolutely unshakable in the things that he believed. And he professed a lot of things that many people found strange, including the whole business about, which we've quoted him often on, not rewarding futility in the draft and not giving the worst team automatically the number 1 pick, thus leading to all of these assertions and allegations that teams deliberately trying to lose games, stemming all the way. It's believable that Stephen Ross told Brian Flores to lose games. It's very believable.
100%.
And you could see clearly that was the position of the franchise and the organization once they got off the playing field, which is odd that we always have that clip from Stephen Ross that, aside from the playing field, we're the number 1 first-class organization in the NFL. And the reality is all anybody really cares about is what happens on the field, right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that I'm not an advocate for having a bunch of misfits and criminals on my team so that it'd be a better team. I mean, when you get like a known scumbag and the guy's had all kinds of problems, everybody deserves a shot and everybody deserves a second chance, or so it seems. But when you have a guy that's like put a gun to the head of a woman
Greg
and been
Hardy.
involved in various drug affairs, and in college was always under suspicion that he was guilty of some criminal acts. I don't really need my team to be full of those guys. I'd much rather have a team that had a bunch of Zach Thomases on it, or Jason Taylors, or guys that comported themselves with, a large amount of dignity and class, actually seemed to want to assimilate themselves into the community. And then after their football careers were over, they managed to, do a lot of good things and always seemed to send the right message out there that, sports is good. I want to believe that the sporting world is a good place from which to derive all kinds of philosophical approaches and ways to live your life. And, certainly growing up playing sports at whatever level you did, you probably learned a lot of things that were applicable to other adventures that you've gone on in life that were valuable about teamwork and approach to,
Yes.
how to assimilate yourself into other people's talents and make something really good happen. Let's face it. I mean, we're sort of in that business now, right? You need a team.
Yes.
Can't do it by yourself, right? But we need Jack Namer. We need Amy. We need Brad Schiller. We need all of these people. We need the guys and all of the people, the women also that participate with us here on the show as frequent guests. I mean, you need a team.
Yes.
And, Zach Thomas was the epitome of all of that, gave everything that he had. And, the Ed Kaplan theory that I think really should apply here is you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not in any sport.
Honestly.
This first ballot business is essentially a bunch of bullshit because what makes you more of a Hall of Famer after you whiffed on the first ballot?
Yes.
Nothing. You would think if you missed on the first time that you were eligible to be a Hall of Famer 5 years after your retirement, which I think is fairly standard in terms of Hall of Fame criteria and qualifications.
It's 5
Is it
years.
not?
I think NHL like waives it weirdly for certain players, but and
Is Gretzky? Does he need to wait 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame?
But like every other major sport, it's 5 years. Whether you're Michael Jordan or you're Pat Riley or you're Dan Marino, it's 5 years.
Okay, but I mean, essentially, you have 5 years to look at a guy's career. All right.
Yes.
If you're one of the voters for the Hall of Fame, you have a ballot there that's going to count. And don't you know if that guy's Hall of Fame caliber or not? Right then and there.
Yes.
And if he's not, why is he more of a candidate? Like 6 years later, he's still eligible, and they still put you through this Bob Kuchenberg, Jerry Kramer type of torture to determine whether or not you go into the Hall of Fame, which we have seen. It does have deep meaning to a lot of people, and it can also lead to a very lucrative, sort of lifestyle. If you're a Hall of Famer, right? You're at autograph shows, you're here, you're getting commercials. I mean, whatever. You can really cash a nice pension, so to speak, of being selected to the Hall of Fame. Some guys take advantage of it, others don't. They just lay low. But and I don't know. Zach doesn't need the money. I think he's done very well for himself. So I don't know that he's going to be pimping himself out, selling autographs on helmets at flea markets or anything, just because he's got the gold jacket on. But you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. I mean, how could you not be able to determine that after the guy has been retired for 5 years?
Cliff Branch, who look maybe did deserve it. It's before my time, and God, he has since passed.
He was great, absolutely great. Yeah,
stopped playing in the NFL in 1986. He might be Hall of Famer, but what I'm saying is that's over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what's changed in the last?
Well, thank you very much for that recognition. I understand the Veterans Committee thing, and that could be a salvation for guys that got ripped off, that got jobbed, that got hosed, which it's very possible. I mean, Tony Baselli, who got in, I remember interviewing Tony Baselli years ago. And, of course, he was the outstanding tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they had good teams when Baselli was there.
He was hurt a lot.
Mark Brunell, it hurt, but I think he was a number 2 overall pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he used to make the rounds on Radio Row because he became an analyst, a football analyst. I think he might have been working with Westwood One or one of these networks that does radio broadcasts on NFL games. And so Baselli, very eloquent, kind of low-key eloquence is what he had. I mean, he wasn't one of these screamers. You weren't going to get some kind of Stephen A. Smith kind of performance out of him. But, it was very well thought, out in terms of his opinions, and expressed them very well and clearly. And he always said, hey, yeah, of course, it means a lot to me if I get into the Hall of Fame. But that was years ago, Lubie. So he's been on the ballot ever since. and finally got the approval. But I don't understand it. I mean, there should just be whatever the criteria happens to be to get into the Hall of Fame and the qualifications. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. And if you're not on the first go round, then that should be it, right? Why torment these people?
Like, I don't know if anyone in this class is a first year guy. Like, none. I don't think anyone in this class would have been a Hall of Famer. And what's funny is Andre Johnson to me is a first ballot guy and still isn't in. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's so weird that they're like, okay, you've now earned it. You've waited. And now
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no, it's stupid.
They'll all appreciate it. Like
and then there's the occasion where a group of guys that were all sensational and should be first ballot Hall of Famers without any kind of debate whatsoever.
I'll go at the same time.
And they all go in at the same time and become eligible. And now the guy that's been on the ballot there for the last 7 years, or maybe is in his last year of eligibility before he has to be diverted over to the Veterans Committee, which, as you said, you could be dead for 30 years already.
That's when you get in, and that sucks. Let these guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that.
I think, I don't know why there's an unwillingness to address this. I mean, wouldn't the leagues themselves want to control the procedure? I understand it's some writers' organization that makes these decisions. I don't know exactly how it works anymore in the National Football League. There's, a veterans committee and this committee and that committee. And I'm not sure, are sports writers casting their ballots? Because a lot of guys, if you're who's involved in sports writing anymore? Do they have any of the old conchers, like I would be? No, because those guys all took the buyout and they're long gone from newspapers and publications.
I think that's the problem is the voters are either a young generation that didn't know these players, so they're just going off of name recognition, or it's older guys that didn't watch. Like Craig Mish came on with us on our Believe podcast, and he sort of railed against how the MLB Hall of Fame is voted for, and he's not wrong. Like, he's like, it's a lot of guys that don't watch games. Like,
yes,
they're honorable writers who are well known, so they have a vote, but they haven't watched the game in 10 years. So it's like,
right.
Okay,
why probably haven't been alive in 10 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, why are you voting for the Hall of Fame? These guys, look, Zach Thomas, for Zach Thomas, it's not money. Zach Thomas was an undersized dude that went in the middle round of the draft that people laughed at, that went on to be one of the top 30 linebackers ever.
He looked like Fred Flintstone.
It was a joke, and he ended up becoming he was a top 5 linebacker his entire career. Like, It's not his fault that he played when Ray Lewis was there and Junior Seau was there and Brian Urlacher was there. He was great his entire career. So he gets punished because people don't know Zach Thomas in California or Idaho or Wyoming. That's not Zach Thomas's fault.
Well, and it's not like he had some marginal number of years, where you're thinking, oh, geez, he only played like 6 years, so what? He was around for a long time. He was, good all the way from start to finish.
Yep.
Vastly overachieved from what estimated value he had to the NFL when he was a 5th-round pick by the Jimmy Johnson, who was a master of the late rounds, which is another thing that when you look at Chris Greer, Chris Greer was all smiles introducing the new head coach, Mike McDaniel. Yesterday, they held the formal press conference. It was kind of a strange thing, though. I didn't see a whole lot of press there. Did you watch any of this, Lubie? The clips were all over the local news.
I saw McDaniel. I didn't see, like, the press angle.
I mean, he comports himself very well. He seems like a humble, intelligent guy and seemed to be well respected by the people that he worked with. We heard Brett Tessler give a ringing endorsement through the fact that he has sort of, I don't know if you call it secondhand knowledge. I mean, his client really prospered under Mike McDaniel's running game system.
Yep.
That he had with Kyle Shanahan, who also is a very bright offensive guy. Nobody would argue that. Kyle Shanahan seems to have some innovative concepts when it comes to offense.
Running.
And he gave him, a ringing endorsement also. So maybe they found a guy. Let's, say that.
It reminds me of, like, you always joke about when coaches do the recruiting press conference and the guy will be like the 60th class, even though people thought he'd have a top 15. It's like, what a great class. Like, Mike McDaniel has been decently honest and people like him. He's fun and he's very different than Philbin or Flores. But then when it gets to Stephen Ross and Gray, he's like, you know what I'm really excited about? Stephen Ross and Chris Greer. There's only a few things that really are special. And working with Chris Greer, that's like a goal of mine. I'm like, okay. But
that seems like a stretch in the imagination. I wonder if he even knew who Chris Greer was before he came to the Dolphin offices yesterday. Was Greer even in on the interview? I couldn't help but think, what Brian Flores painted a picture there. And you've been having problems with Chris Greer and some of the moves the Dolphins have made, as everybody has, because, let's face it, the bottom line is they haven't worked.
Nope.
And it's been a long time process and a long time trying to get to the same place. And unfortunately, they are in the same place that they wanted to dodge in the first place, and that was mired in mediocrity.
Yes.
Nobody wants their team to be. You'd rather have your team stink. At least then you can fetch and complain and do it with some meaning.
Yep.
And then there's always the possibility that you happen to luck out, be the worst team in the league, and land Joe Burrow, who bounces back. I mean, from a devastating Monty Stratton type of injury, right? He came very close to like having a peg leg.
No, it was a bad injury. It was like a really bad injury. Like guys like Carson Palmer had an injury similar, and were never the same.
He wins the comeback player of the year, Joe Burrow, for coming back from that knee injury. And I didn't realize that was just last year.
Yes.
Seemed like he had played like another season in between, to be this accomplished. And so it's no surprise that he came on as the season progressed. But nonetheless, bottom line is you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. Zach Thomas, my opinion, Hall of Famer. I think in the opinion of most everybody that saw this guy play or studies the game, to the point where you would actually be aware of what this man did because, wow, I mean, he was sideline to sideline, nonstop energy. Obviously didn't look like the most athletic of specimens, so it's even more amazing that he was able to do what he accomplished and doing it while you would have to say, at least in terms of height, certainly being undersized for the position. And, wow, I mean, just constantly anything good. It's kind of like Derek Jeter. And Polyman pointed this out to me. Polyman, of course, of Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge fame, and vows to be back next week, by the way, Lubie. Over, under on that? What was the number you posted?
I did 50 just to be nice, say 50-50. And I said I will go way under. And I love Polyman.
You have to lay a big price, though, to go under. You would have to lay 175 to win 100.
That's the heavy favorite.
No, they got to attach some serious juice to that one. If, you're going to take the under. Come on. I mean, it's kind of like taking the Rams in this game on the money line. Everybody believes the Rams will win the ball game. Bunch of props, and Mark Lawrence is going to join us. Now, Mark doesn't usually pick the game, but he would have to go with Cincinnati, would he not? He's never picked a favorite.
He always goes dogs. So he'll either not take a side, like he'll say, sometimes I'm not touching a game.
Right.
He'll not take a side. But that's only because he doesn't trust the dog. If he has any faith in the dog, then he goes dog. He doesn't go favorite ever. He's done, I think, in like the 10 years we've had him, maybe one time. And that probably was only me scoring it wrong because at the time it probably was the dog.
Yeah.
And between the time he picked it and the game happened, the spread might have flipped. But otherwise, it's straight dog. Like he won't even think about a favorite.
But we would have to put Mark Lawrence on a Delana drip if he was laying points in a selection he made on the show. But he is smart enough, people. And if let's say you really don't believe Cincinnati can win the game, right? You just don't believe it, which is the opinion of most people. And so I was leaning towards going contrarian on this, which that takes a certain amount of guts, does it not? To stand alone, Colin Kaepernick breath. I mean, I don't know that Colin Kaepernick even meant to be this martyr that he became. I would contend that that happened somewhat by accident.
Not to this level. I mean, he embraced it once it was coming, but at the beginning it wasn't. I mean, Weiss said it was great.
And most people are looking at Brian Flores and saying, bozo move. Not going to accomplish anything. All you did was, screw yourself out of having some kind of a career, and you could be all the man of principle you want to be, but you know what? It probably was a dumb move because look how it's been deflected already by the National Football League. Perfect job.
I, at the time, was excited because I'm like, look, this guy is not backing down. It's more and more looking like that. I mean, it's already been out of the media and gone to the lawyers. And Ross, if someone's going to have good lawyers, Stephen Ross is going to have good lawyers because he's a freaking moron and he's never got popped for anything. So
I'm not sure how dumb he is in other aspects. How did he make billions? You always wonder that about the owner of a team that's not doing well. How did this guy make billions of dollars? I'm sitting here having to work and schlep to my grave. Literally. I mean, I wonder if they'll put a camera in my coffin so we can continue doing this even after I'm dead.
Oh, God. Probably.
Did you read that contract that Jack had in front of you? Huh? It's one of the requirements that even after you're gone. That's why, I mean, Ion Channel is number one. We're happy to be here. But no, I don't know. You always wonder how could the guy be, this blatantly stupid? Yes. I can't imagine. I mean, they say there's proof of this, evidence that he offered Brian Flores $100,000 extra if he would just deliberately go out and lose games. One of the most despicable things. I mean, suspended from everything for life, right? Criminal charges, maybe. That's sports bribery.
Oh, that's bad. But again, you brought up the defense that I think is literally like the Johnny Cochran one that we laugh at and think if you're in Harvard,
if it doesn't fit.
Bringing up that defense, they would kick you out of law school.
Yeah.
But it ended up being one of the most iconic defenses ever. Like,
what else did Cochran do during that trial except sit there and smile when Barry Scheck destroyed every witness that came up on the stand?
Like, he didn't, even in the remake, both remakes, like Cochran never was brilliant. That just somehow resonated with people.
He puts a wool hat on his head and a pair of gloves. And he goes, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Like he was writing a rap song.
He didn't even try to put it on. He did the thing. Like,
and the jury's like, yeah, Johnny, you got a point there.
But Ross, like that defense, I was joking, which to me sounds totally stupid. Like that's a weird thing to joke about. But I mean, you can't really prove intent. Like you can't prove if he was joking or not. Like,
but that was clearly the intent of the organization. I mean, there's no question about that. And maybe that's where Roger Goodell needs to intervene. But the whole thing is fueled by the ridiculous notion, which is the same thing as this Hall of Fame criteria about you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. I want to stick by that. That's Eddie Kaplan's theory. You either vote me in right away or it goes away. That's it. You're not going to be in the Hall of Fame. What's wrong with that? I don't know. How is that going to deprive anybody? The stamp goes down right away. You're either, in or you're out, right? You're out of jail or, you're going to the Hall of Fame. But one or the other, I mean, it's clear cut whether a player is a Hall of Famer. There can't be that much debate about how he stacks up against other people who have since become eligible, which only saturates the market more and thins out anybody who missed it on the first ballot's chances of becoming a Hall of Famer. It's nuts. I don't know. It's unfortunate that we, and I don't care. What difference does it make how many people are in the Hall of Fame? If you believe them to be of that quality, whatever the standard or the barometer is for a Hall of Fame type of greatness, then start making more busts, right? Is there a bronze shortage or something? What's the deal on that?
Yeah, it's weird that they have like these weird limits. Like, who gives a crap?
Imagine Raj is looking at like Troy Vincent. Hey, Troy, get in here. You see how much we spent on bronze last year? Where are you making those sneakers? That's another thing. I read, you had to figure my man Phil Mushnick, who's usually very satirical and, tends to be completely cynical about everything that's going on in sports. Although enough of a fan that you can appreciate where he's coming from, even if it is a little bit over the top. And yet, I mean, just a scathing indictment against NBC and their coverage of the Olympic Games and the disgrace that the International Olympic Committee sold out and, took this money from the Chinese government, for God's sake, to stage these Olympic Games where Putin's team is not even represented by its own country name.
Yes, someone got popped for roids from Russia.
What a surprise.
I love it. They're still doing it. They don't give a shit.
That cross-country skiing, I mean, they show a lot of it because I guess, it fills a lot of time, right, when a guy's going 50 kilometers on skis uphill.
You're gonna say, isn't it like the Huskies or whatever? Like, isn't it like 7 days? Like,
yeah,
how long does that cross?
It's like the Iditarod takes less time. Well, why don't they give them some sled dogs or something? Let them get pulled along. That would be kind of cool. And how is the Iditarod not part of the Winter Olympic Games?
That would be great.
You would think it would be a natural. What, they're worried about conversations about animal cruelty popping up?
Exactly.
But I have never seen an athlete finish an event. I mean, on a consistent basis, you might see some guy like drop dead after the finish of the Ironman. Or, remember that famous, I forget the name of the woman who lost complete control of her bodily functions and what was twisted up like a pretzel. And she somehow crawled while, literally pooping in her pants, crawled across the finish line. And, that was one of those things that you look at and you go, my God. I mean, if I had that kind of inner compulsion to do anything, you would think we would be much further along than we are, like 70 and up.
Don't say that. That's sort of my lament.
No, I mean, I would have to say this. I mean, it's not exactly a Hall of Fame career that I've had, but I've gotten to do a lot of the things that I always dreamt about doing and been able to somehow carve out a living without having to really work, which is fantastic, right? It's all good stuff. All right, I have Super Bowl props here, a lot of them.
We're going to do a lot of it today. That's what the professor's coming on to talk props.
Oh, okay, good, because he's big on the anthem.
Yes,
I didn't realize this.
Researchers. Oh, I got it. He'll talk to you about it. He does ridiculous amounts of research, and I did not realize that.
Well, now this is a country singer. There's a black woman,
Yes. It's a country.
Guyton. Okay,
Country
she's
singer.
a country singer.
She's a country singer.
See, I'm stereotyping, man. I think she should be belting out some kind of, stirring rendition of an old blues tune. No.
Well, and did you see like the number that was posted is ridiculous? It's like 135 or some stupid.
Yeah. That she goes under?
No, I'm saying, the over under line. I think it's like
minus 120. National anthem over 95 seconds.
The time limit. That's what I meant. The time limit. It's 135. Like that. Because usually we always are flirting around 2 minutes.
Should we try it? I mean, you got a stopwatch mechanism there, Lubie? I don't know how entertaining this will be. And I'm not sure. I might go Goulet and, screw up a couple of the words, right? Oh, say, can you see? How long was that?
I didn't start. You have to.
All right. No, there's a trend there. I believe it's gone over, 9 out of the last 12 or something like that. So you're cashing 75% of the time.
Wow, that's crazy.
And here's the thing. My theory is that anybody that's in this kind of a spotlight, especially the beginning of the game, the entire universe that's going to watch this game is tuned in then. Nobody's tuning into the Super Bowl late because you're already brain dead from watching pregame shows, the number of cocktails you've consumed. I mean, people show up at your Super Bowl party at what time? They should show up at 6. But that's not the way it works on Super Bowl Sunday, correct? I remember, people were absolutely blasted. They were falling into my swimming pool when, I would have a Super Bowl party, and I'd tell people to come like 2 o'clock. Right, because you're gonna have a little barbecue. You're gonna have
hang out, schmooze, you bullshit.
Hang out, enjoy the day. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Sit home until it's time, post time for the game, and then go somewhere? No, that's not happening.
You're gonna go have some fun.
But by the time, and that was at a time when there was just a series of year after year, the most boring Super Bowl games that you could ever possibly.
Yeah, the whole '90s was dreadful.
Oh, it was so ugly, my God! And that's kind of the time I'm talking about, like '92 on through like 2000 and change, and. It's abortive, right? The amount of time before the game, and so everybody, by the time you get to that, if the people are still at your place when the game actually starts, hey, thanks for the food, man. I'm going to go home and watch the game, in the comfort of my own home.
Exactly. You come to eat and then
necessarily appreciate the fact that you have only one small TV outside Deforrest. You ever notice that? A lot of people that come to parties are very,
very
grateful.
Yeah, they're very judgmental.
They complain like they came into a restaurant where they were getting hosed for like $150 for a steak.
You didn't invite me to your house.
Right. I don't recall being. I went to a few Super Bowl parties at other people's places.
Yeah.
Kyle used to stage a good one.
But you don't say you're happy and gracious to be there. You're not like,
it should be somewhat of a standout memory, right? Where you say, wow, the food was great, the atmosphere, everything, the people. Right, should be able to remember it almost. Almost like I remember my many marriages.
Wow.
Flowers might be in a punch, Louis. Already, I beat the system. I told you that yesterday, right? I went out and bought some flowers. I saw them on sale for like $11 at Publix, dozen roses.
Okay.
So those same roses are going to be $30 on Monday.
So you bought and hid them? Like, don't they?
No. That's kind of a lame one. Just present them early,
okay.
And now you don't have to worry about flowers on Valentine's Day.
You get Valentine's Day credit. See, your wife's different than my wife. Shirley would still want something like that.
You think she wants another dozen roses on Valentine's Day? It was just a few days ago I got these.
You've been married 6 years at this point, so it's a different world.
Has it been 6? Oh my God.
Hasn't it been 6?
Yeah, that was that Super Bowl in San Francisco.
Believe me, because my life you were getting married in 2016. My marriage was ending in 2016.
Oh yeah. Your first wife just disappeared, man. I love that move.
I marked that year.
That was great. Yeah.
It
was a lot of fun, and we've been having a few radio row moments here on the show, so that's been cool too. Now we're going to get into it here. A Degenerate Friday is underway.
Yes.
We're going to get into the whole spirit of the thing with the professor who's on the prop bet. So I'm glad the professor's weighing in on this because he's not really a pro football guy.
Nobody loves props,
but he loves bizarre propositions.
And he's great at research. He pulled I'm not going to give it away. I'll let him do it. But he pulled like a Lawrence when it came to the freaking anthem. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how close to post time for the anthem you can shave this, but if I see a country singer coming out with a guitar,
I know I told Defo.
And or any kind of accompaniment over, man, is a cinch.
Yeah, but do you have time for that? How quick can you get the bed in? Like,
who was it? Aretha Franklin? Was it Aretha Franklin that took like 2 hours to play the national anthem? Right? She had a piano accompaniment. No, she was playing
Alicia
a piano.
Alicia Keys has the record at 2:35. Right? That was in Super Bowl 47.
May he rest in peace. You don't think Grover Washington Jr. was going to kind of lengthen that thing a little bit, stretching a couple of notes out at the end? And brave.
Okay, and I'm sorry to cut you off, and I'm going to post his comment. This is a man, and it's very clear why he's not married anymore, and if he'll ever be married again. Andy said, no, don't worry about getting new flowers. Just take a picture of the flowers you already bought her and text her that picture, reminding her, see? And I love you, Andy.
I don't know. As we said many times, degenerate gamblers are usually very poor and inept at affairs of the heart.
My wife would not like you at all.
And picture this, too. I mean, Valentine's Day right after Super Bowl Sunday. Are you kidding me?
No.
I mean, what does everybody around the world think? And somehow it can't happen. I mean, if Joe Biden was going to do one thing during his presidency that people were going to smile about.
The Monday off, yeah.
It would be make a national holiday the Monday after the Super Bowl so that nobody had to go to work, because nobody wants to go to work and nobody wants to take their wives out on Valentine's Day or vice versa. And nobody wants to go. Everybody's already hungover.
Yeah, that's a bad combo. Super Bowl and then the next day is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's a 1-2 punch from Alexis Arguello, right? There's the jab and boom, the right hand.
I didn't think about that. Oh, Jesus.
How did Pryor stay on his feet?
Oh my
Alexis took, that thought to his grave. He really did. That bugged him, man. I talked to him about it many times. He clocks this guy. I saw this the other night. They had a clip for some reason of Alexis Arguello somewhere. And he hits Pryor with a sledgehammer. I mean, the right hand. And Pryor's head is absolutely convulsed. I mean, it goes reverberating back like you were watching a slow motion thing of some crash demonstration with a car. And you see that? The safety belt saved him. You would have needed a seatbelt to stay in the ring. That's how hard he got hit. And he just looks at him and smiles. Like literally, and meant it. That was, I mean, some guys smile when they get hurt in a boxing match, and it's like, oh, you know what? This guy's going to be knocked out within like 2 seconds anyway. So wipe the smile off your face, buddy, and make sure your mouthpiece is in. But I mean, it comes right back laughing. And Alexis took that to his grave. I can assure you, people out there. All right, we don't want you taking your money to your grave. So, I guess you would be taking it to your grave if you didn't get separated from it on Super Bowl Sunday. Prop bets, turbo props. The post outlines the kickoff, the national anthem. This is pre-kickoff. National anthem coin toss is -105. Heads won last year. Tails won't fail again, is this guy's prediction.
I mean, it's always heads. Isn't it like always heads? Isn't it like a weird ass?
I think both sides of the coin have heads on them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Wasn't there like, isn't it really like a heads?
Stephen Ross designed the coin. Yeah,
exactly.
And so I mean, these are the kind of things that people are going to be betting on. So the professor's going to join us. That's going to be great. Mark Lawrence, he usually gets into some of these prop bets.
Yes,
but more statistically oriented.
Yes.
Like, did I say that right?
Yes.
Oriented.
Yes.
Anyway. Yes. He's usually in like over-unders, a number of yards that a guy is going to get, or passing yards, a number of fumbles, things like that. And we're all over that. Sean McVay, first time out, -115. So
what's interesting is we've now talked to a few people, and again, usually your theories are mocked, and they turn out right a lot of the time. That's what's funny about
We're absolutely right about a couple of things here.
This one, every person, and I talked with Aaron Schatz, who will be on our Believe. I think I'm going to air it Saturday. We're going to have Believes every day. And he's Mr. Numbers, and you can never make him laugh.
No.
He laughed at it when I presented it to him, and he's like, that's a great prop, which I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, yes. He got excited, which I've never heard him get excited, from Football Outsiders and ESPN. And he's like, you have to do that prop. He's like, what's funny is McVay loves early timeouts.
Yes.
Like, look at Defo.
No, it's not an original theory. I read the theory, and what I read was substantial in terms of thinking that this was a natural, that of all the bizarre things you could come up with to bet on during the Super Bowl, you would go ahead and make money because Sean McVay almost always uses a timeout early in the ball game for whatever reason. He usually, he just bizarrely calls timeouts early in ball games, and he's done it almost every time that he is on the sideline.
Well, that stat you said, and again, Brandon Lang was another person that was like, wow, that's a great one. You should definitely do it.
Yeah.
You said 9 straight games he's done it. I mean,
yeah, it was something like that. 9 straight games he's called the first time out.
That's ridiculous.
Something has to go bizarrely wrong for the other team to call a quicker timeout than Sean McVay does, the coach of the Rams. He may even call a timeout before the kickoff to ice the kicker if they're receiving the ball. Right? That's the kind of move that this guy makes when it comes to timeouts. They have no regard for first-round draft picks or timeouts if you're the LA Rams organization. That's minus 115, so you would have to put up 1150 to win 1,000.
That's fine.
Or 115 to win 100 on that proposition. But a nice way to go. And I saw something else that if you like Cincinnati to win the game, you may as well bet Joe Burrow to be the MVP at plus 235.
Yeah, who else is
because if they do win the game, in all likelihood, Burrow is going to be voted the MVP. It almost always goes to the quarterback of the winning team. He would have to have had a good game for them to win. You would have to imagine that they're not going to win this game by just running the ball up the middle and on defense. And so, of course, write that down, people. That's exactly how the game is going to be run.
Joe Mixon.
He's, going to have a game, like he was with the New York Jets in Super Bowl III.
It's going to be Timmy Smith.
And, he's going to go for 226 yards. Burrow's going to do nothing but hand the ball off all night. And, and Cincinnati's going to win on defense. 10-3. That would be, now that we've said that. Okay, so we'll get into all of this as we have a deal, Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Our apologies, Jersey Kyle under the weather today.
He's not feeling well. We're looking at feel better.
Yeah, he feels like he got hit by that Alexis Arguello punch, and believe me, he felt the entire impact, this guy. He's sitting in Dustin Hoffman's lap there in the 4th row, right behind a young Deforrest. We're coming back with more here on Ion Channel. Great to be on Ion Channel. I mean, it's getting a little too late, people, too, to make your Valentine's Day plans. And coming right after the Super Bowl, is that any excuse? Well, women give you a free pass on Valentine's Day because you're exhausted from Super Bowl Sunday.
No way.
And the game ends late, too. So if you're going to work the next morning like we do early in the morning, should we take the day off after the Super Bowl? Nobody wants to hear about that.
We can't take the day off because the day after the Super Bowl is literally the biggest day in sports. So it's annoying because even if they made that rule 2 days after the Super Bowl, it's already starting to wane to talk about the Super Bowl.
Well, in this racket, though, if you're doing sports, you're going to be working weekends. I mean, for a substantial portion of your life in the business, there's no doubt about it. It's unavoidable, right? A lot of big games happen on Saturdays and Sundays. That's just the way it is, my friend. All right, big fights, right? I mean, what I got to tell the guy I'm Sandy Koufax. I don't work Saturdays, right? The guy's offering you a network TV job.
Good luck.
To do your favorite thing, a thing you aspire to do since the early days of watching a Gillette Fight of the Week and listening to the great Don Dunphy, who, by the way, was very sparing in the way that he called the fight. There was none of the Schlubberfritz stuff that goes on today. I should talk. But no, I mean, he would go like half a round without saying a word. Don Dunphy, considered the greatest of all time. All right, we'll come back with more. That's boxing play-by-play. If they're saying, hey, how the hell is Don Dunphy? Did he get stiffed for the Hall of Fame? I thought he was talking about Zach just a minute ago.
By the way, I made that a poll for today on our Twitter, at Defo Show. After Zach Thomas did get stiffed in our estimation for the Hall of Fame, what do you think? Is Zach Thomas a Hall of Famer? Yes. Definitively? Hell no. At Defo Show, is Zach Thomas a Hall of Famer? We want your vote on Twitter.
Okay. All right. How's that going so far?
I just posted it right now.
Okay, so nobody waited. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Hialeah Park, great place to go. Wow, we're going to be a big weekend of thoroughbred racing. And you can get all the simulcasts from all around the country. That 3-year-old scene is heating up. They had a couple of big stakes last weekend, including the Holy Bull at Gulfstream Park, the Withers up there at Aqueduct in New York. Really exciting stuff happening in a wide open division, Lubie. So start watching the ponies, and if you want to bet on them while you're watching them, and that's obviously the best way to do it. Let's face it, one without the other, kind of, sort of like, the old thing they used to say about a tie, like kissing your sister. Forget about it. I mean, I don't care how good looking she is, unless you are an Alabama fan. Doesn't really fly, right, Lubie? In terms of social protocol. But I mean, to bet on all these races in a perfect spot like the Champion Simulcasting Room in Hialeah Park is an absolute dream. You guys are going to love it. If you haven't been there, you really owe it to yourself to head down to Hialeah Park. Look, it's just inhaling the grounds is really what you do, right? I mean, you know how you used to walk into a ballpark when you were living in the city there, and it was the first game of the year that you were attending early in April, and you would just breathe it in, and it was fantastic. Kind of like some of the weather we've had here of late. Just breathe it in. And you feel like, wow, I mean, this is tremendous. That's how you feel when you walk in the door there and renew your familiarity with Hialeah Park and all of its inherent and intrinsic beauty. And then it's beautiful what's happening there because it's very much modern day. Lubie, would you say that's a fair statement?
No, that's what's cool about it is you can do because someone the other day in our chat was like, I love this show. You guys are great with nostalgia. And I'm like, I don't mind that, but I always feel like the word nostalgia has a negative connotation. What's cool about Hialeah is you get the nostalgia as someone who's like younger, I guess, like me, who missed those days.
Yeah.
But you don't feel out of place because they also are super modern and the food's like great and the drinks are great and like the atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah, and you know, you're not getting ripped off, right? I mean, you go to some pari-mutuel facilities, and you know, in this case, you got the simulcast going, a poker room, and a casino. And I don't know why they feel like they have to sock you in the face when you get a sandwich or whatever. But wow, I mean, great food and drink, and you know, with that kind of Latin flair too. That's going on at Hialeah Park. It's really a great place. You're going to love it. All kinds of special events take place there. It's a great place to hold any kind of party. I don't know if they're doing something special for Valentine's Day, but I wouldn't put it past them. So check out the website there, hialeahpark.com. You'll see all the great things that are going on at beautiful Hialeah Park, one of our favorite places on the Defo Show tour. All right, I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. We get into it with the professor. Super Bowl right around the corner. This will be our final visit with you guys before the big game.
Yes, sir.
You know, as much as I want to go contrarian and side with Cincinnati, I think I started to say this about an hour ago, Lubie. You know, one of the things that you look at, the upstart team that just kind of came into prominence usually gets slapped around their first attempt for the championship. That's an NBA thing.
Yes.
But it's also, you know, applicable here. I mean, you had the Rams embarrass themselves, 3 years ago? Yep. They were in the Super Bowl with McVay.
2018 Super Bowl. So four.
Okay.
Crazy, it's 4 years ago already. But yeah,
all right, so they lose that 3 Super Bowls back, and you know they lose to Belichick, and they lose 13-3. They don't do anything that was indicative of what they had going in the regular season, like 0.0 resemblance, and not even a reasonable facsimile. Horrible game played offensively. Jared Goff. I mean, and was that not where McVay said, "Hey, this ain't happening to me again"?
It started there. Yep, definitely.
Right.
To think a little.
Okay, so now what happens to those teams? They usually rebound and come back and win because they've walked the gauntlet, so to speak, and they got to the point where, you know, they were either going to be a champion or be remembered as being it's unfortunate, but in America, I don't know, is this true in all countries where finishing second is a total embarrassment?
Yeah, I mean, other countries, they're like, they take it a lot more serious than we do.
Right? How many Olympians from America just go, oh, fuck, a silver medal? They take it and they shove it right up Johnny Weir's. Well, I don't want to say that.
Rear. Johnny Weir's rear.
You know what everybody's thinking. All right. But anyway, it's unfortunate, but that team usually rebounds and comes back and plays well. Do they not? In the next opportunity they have. They usually rebound and play well. That's what I would expect from the Rams, a very professionally run team. And with all due respect to Cincinnati, don't they get slapped around this time? Slapped around like a pig.
What I feel like, I mean, we haven't seen it yet. They usually hit the point where they're like, look, this team is, Joe Burrow's talked like a guy that hasn't settled, so I give him credit. I don't know, man. They barely made the playoffs. Then they barely won the first, like every round they barely got by. At some point that catches up with you. We'll see.
You would think. I mean, have they beaten the caliber of opposition that would convince you that when there appears to be also, as we had Brandon Lang on our Believe podcast yesterday, giving his prediction about the game. And, you know, he has hit 25 of 29 Super Bowls, documented picks.
Yes, they're documented.
The king of the Super Bowl. We were talking with Brandon about that. I mean, if you're a guy who can crush the cup when you're talking about the Breeders' Cup, you want that guy making predictions on your show.
Yeah, Polyman. It was like 5 years in a row where he was freaking annihilating it.
King of the Derby.
The Derby.
King of the Futures also, the Polyman. I mean, he has quite a distinctive track record in that category. And, if you have a guy that can fill out like a perfect first round of the NCAA tournament bracket, you want to talk to that guy. So we were talking to that guy, Brandon Lang of Two for the Money fame. Yeah. And it's hard to get him on this show because he's out on the West Coast.
Yep, he's in Vegas.
So anyway, we had him on our Believe podcast, and he is adamant about the idea that the Rams are so superior. And his first consideration is who wins the war in the so-called trenches.
Yep.
All right. First thing he looks at: offensive line versus defensive line, and see where the advantages are on either side.
Either way, yeah.
And it's clear cut. I mean, the Rams hold an absolute commanding edge in that category. Their defense against the Bengals offensive line, and that was it. It was like literally, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. I rest my case. Really, Johnny? That's all you got? You imagine what OJ was thinking at that time? Really, Johnny? If they had a picture of a stunned OJ as he, wrapped up that closing argument, the Jews had to be thinking, I paid you all of my NFL pension till the day I die. Fortunately, I guess, for OJ, if that was their arrangement, Johnny checked out long before he, lost the pension funds. But anyway, all of the evidence seems to point to the fact that there's just such a glaring difference there that in and of itself could well decide the game. And when you go further in a deeper, so-called dive into the examination of the two teams, the Bengals really don't outshine the Rams in any category.
Anywhere. People will do the quarterback, and I still wouldn't do the quarterback. Like, Stafford's legit. Burrow's only in his second year coming off a massive injury. We just think he's fun. Like, he's not.
He's been fine. Joe Burrow's been great.
He's a good quarterback, but I'm saying he's not like head and shoulders better than Stafford. Like, I feel like people would take Burrow in that debate, and I think they're wrong.
All right. And I'm trying to convince myself that everybody else is wrong. And I finally am getting swayed. I don't know. I mean, people would say that I'm just a chalk playing, the old, chicken, De La Hoya type of loser, right?
Yep.
But naturally, the logic is going to point you in the direction of picking a favorite. That's why they're favored. Yes. So, people have made whatever mathematical extrapolations are necessary and permutations to come up with the idea that the Rams, just, based on the body of evidence of this season, are 4 points better than the Cincinnati Bengals. And most people think it's way more.
Yes.
Like this will be lopsided. All right, we're coming back with more. The professor going to join us in prop bets. Mark Lawrence going Laurentian. And then later on, the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, with his thoughts. And we do have a prop bet out there with Mayo that if Cincinnati wins the ball game, I have to buy you and Mayo lunch at Skyline Chili, which is down in, I think, like one location in town, maybe one in the country. And it's an Ohio chain, of course, very popular in Cincinnati, where they put this absolutely the most bland chili. It should not be called chili. I don't know what it is. It's closer to grape jelly than it is to chili.
It is. Oh, yeah, 100%. He talks about it like it's Greek.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what that means. I've never had, first of all, there's a reason no one's ever had Greek tomato sauce. Like, that's not a thing.
Sophistication, I'm sorry to cut you off, but sophistication can get in the way of your senses.
He's trying
and this sophisticated taste of mayo with the Greek sauce. I mean, it tastes like, Mike, it tastes like shit.
Tastes like either nothing or bad. I eat it and hate it like you and the professor because I've only had the Coney dog, so it's a hot dog with they put a pound of cheese, so like it over masks the crappy chili. But I've never said it's good. Like the fact that he's literally drinking it and eating it on the fucking spaghetti, which I don't understand.
He embarrassed us. Yeah, it's not even good spaghetti. It's like crappy spaghetti. No, really. I mean, if that's all you're going to do, I mean, at least do it well. You would have to say that would be a general tenet of business. No, I mean, if you're going to make one thing and specialize in it, chili over spaghetti, at least have the spaghetti be brilliant and the chili of somewhat of a, substantial taste. No, it should stand out, should it not, Lubie? Like it should be a thing that you can't wait to go back.
No, it's not good.
Not sit there and convince yourself that, oh, well, when you're drunk, it's not that bad. So Taco Bell is in that category, right? I mean, as compared to some fine Mexican restaurant.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. He's a weird thing with it.
All right, prop bets coming up, and Mark Lawrence and also the Gambling Gourmet. You know what? I hope he doesn't gross everybody out again by coming up with another prop himself, and in this case, an actual prop that you would use on set, and he buys that crap frozen. Can you imagine?
He just had it there. Who just has that? Oh my God!
I mean, this is the sophisticated food critic for the South Florida Sun Sentinel, and a guy that's masterminded a page on Facebook that has over 73,000 local subscribers.
Yes, and it is in large part because of him. It's because of the man he was. People wanted to subscribe to the thoughts he had, I think, until last week. Like, I feel like last week was like an earmark.
Yes.
For him.
Bourdain went insane, right? He ended up killing himself. I don't, say that would be a path that we would see Mike Mayo following, but what was Bourdain? I mean, he was the king of the bizarre food.
Yes, and what's more bizarre than Skyline?
Right? I mean, you could go into some remote region of South Africa and eat the most disgusting thing that they could possibly put in front of you, at least in terms of your concept of what makes good eating.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be as dangerous or treacherous as venturing into a Skyline Chili in like Plantation or wherever this place is.
It's Sunrise.
Sunrise. Florida, we're talking about, people.
Yes.
And going in there and going, yeah, I'll have the special, whatever that is. Right?
The 4-way. Okay, I don't know what
the guy takes like a ladle of this crap sauce. I mean, like, you couldn't make a worse sauce. If you went and got like a can of Dinty Moore beef stew out of a machine, like when you were in college, you couldn't think of anything more disgusting than this sauce they put on top of some badly made spaghetti, which, how do you blow spaghetti?
I don't know.
And it's your specialty. All right, enough on that.
I know.
All right, we're coming back with some prop bets on the Super Bowl. All right, we're yapping for like an hour here, Lubie. We might as well take a break.
We've never done this. We've never done
some homage to.
This is a record.
Having too much fun. I mean, naturally very excited because, you know what? With the way things are set up, I would love to see the stunning result. Am I too chicken to bet on it? We know somebody who's not. He couldn't join us today because he's gargling with chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, Jersey man.
And that's Jersey Kyle. But the more I'm speaking, I could feel him in my soul saying, "You're dead wrong, Deforrest. Don't let him talk you into it." So I need a little Mark Lawrence, all right? And if he begs off, saying, "Hey, well, I'm not going to play this side in this game because I would want to bet Cincinnati," and you know that he can't. His mother would be rolling over in her grave if he took the Rams and laid the points, Mark Lawrence. So he's going to join us. So we'll have some handicapping expertise for you coming up here. A well-researched group of prop bets from the professor coming up. Mark Lawrence, always well-researched. He is the king of that. And, he was really the forefather, like Bill James was to the baseball abstract of sabermetric type of analysis in sports. I mean, this guy should be working for every team in all leagues, Major League Baseball, hockey, football, and basketball. Because his numbers are outstanding. Mark Lawrence is going to join us. And then, of course, the Gambling Gourmet, Mr. Disgusting himself, Mike Mayo, will also be with us on the show. I'm finding it very, awkward, to think that he was the food critic for the Sun Sentinel. And we talk about a place, that, was charging you like $200 for a dinner and trashing it as if it was some cheesy diner off Canarsie Street. All right, back with more in a moment. I did that Hialeah Park spot about an hour ago, right?
That
was good.
So
okay.
It was
all right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:04. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Yeah, that's annoying. I always get caught my pants down.
Hi, guys. If I could squeeze in two. One is just, can you say with certainty that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the roster on Sunday?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
There he is. Welcome back to the show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz with you. The Defo Show here on On Channel. Always a pleasure. A deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday is about to go into real depth when it comes to some of the bizarre prop bets. And who better to oversee that conversation than, and Lubie says, Professor, you've been doing an intense amount of research on some of these propositions, including our favorite, which is Sean McVay to call the first time out at minus 115. Professor, first of all, how are you, my friend?
Not so hot, Defo.
What happened? You like Skyline Chili?
I've actually been pretty happy the last couple of days. I was having good days, and I get home last night. And, I got to say, when the Brian Flores lawsuit first came out, I was really hoping that, every other black coach other than Brian Flores in NFL history would get paid because Brian Flores didn't deserve squat. But now I think the biggest priority is the Miami Dolphins have to be taken away from Stephen Ross and Chris Greer. I come home and they've done it again. I thought Mike McDaniels was a smart, hip, young guy from Yale. I mean, brains. But now we see he's like the George W. Bush or Mr. Burns type of guy from Yale. He's a moron who has brought more Patriot trash into this organization and go out and not hire just Patriot scum. He hires Wes Welker, one of the lead Patriot scumbags of all time.
He was a Dolphin, though, at one time. He started as a Dolphin.
And then
who cares was he was a Dolphin? Who cares what he had before he became evil? He's
like a professional wrestler. Once he
goes to the dark trash. Not like a professional wrestler. It's like saying, well, Hitler was born in Austria, not Germany. So, well, he's still Hitler.
Yeah, I guess you had to get a Hitler reference in here somehow.
Absolutely, because the Patriots have once again done it to our organization.
Oh my God.
They've gotten us again, Defo. What's wrong with you people? Like, how can you let this happen again? Is it like Star Wars? Do these people have to start calling themselves a special stupid name before you recognize what's going on? You're sitting there looking for your wide receivers coach. You're like, well, we can take the offensive coordinator from North Dakota State. They threw for 400 yards a year last year. We could take this guy who's developed 4 Pro Bowlers, or we could take this guy. He's kind of interesting. He calls himself Darth Welker. And his specialty is slaughtering his enemies with choking them with the Force. Like, what the hell? At what point are you going to realize what is going on here? Like, Stephen Ross has got to go. Chris Greer has got to go. This whole organization has got to go. I can't believe after 3 years of this, after 3 years wandering in the desert, he has to go and do this again. 2 days into his administration. I only got to have hope for 2 days, Defo.
Nice. That was tremendous. I think I'm gonna. Can you send that to somebody? Do we still know Jason Jenkins? Does he still have our number? Movie somebody in the Dolphins promotional department, and just say, "Here's your fans' reaction, your average reaction." This is what everybody is saying.
Unbelievable.
Strong as always. I don't know. We might put a parenthetical and a disqualification around the Hitler reference here, at least in terms of our legal obligation to be responsible to the public out there and the tenets of good taste. All right. Prop bets, Professor. I know you've been researching. You're big on the anthem. You like to cash before the game. You don't even care if the ball is even kicked off. You like to cash on coin flips and anthems. Are you inclined? I know this goes against your general nature and philosophies of degeneracy, but are you inclined to maybe take a parlay shot? Coin flip to the anthem.
No. Because the coin flip is truly random, whereas there is a lot of precedent and a lot of research. you can put into the national anthem. And I think we got an interesting one this year, Defo. This Mickey Guyton, of course, opened up at a record low number, the lowest over-under at 130 in Super Bowl history is where this.
Wow, isn't it usually like 2 minutes? That's what I thought.
Around 2.
Anywhere from like 150 to about 210 is your usual national anthem. This came out at 130, and I will tell you, Defo, I think the odds makers are setting a trap here. I think they were trying to bait overaction with this super low number. And it succeeded because it's gone from 130 to 135. I even saw 138 in one place last night. So you are getting good number, and I think they've snuck one in there. I'm telling you right now, Defo, it's a bit of a hot take. Unlike my Wes Welker position, it's not as well researched. It's just gut and instinctual. But I think this woman's going under. Mickey Guyton is her name. And now, of course, the all-time low national
the trends, I think, dictate a different position on that, do they not? Haven't the recent anthem singers under the spotlight of billions of people are watching? As you know, Super Bowl parties can be dreadfully long before the game actually starts. Everybody's bombed. They're already they've already eaten. They want to go, but everybody's tuned into the kickoff, are they not?
Again.
So, yeah, I mean, the most people possible are going to see this anthem being sung by this woman who I didn't even know she was a country singer. Wouldn't she want to milk that moment, human nature, for all it could possibly last?
I think the natural trend is to go there, but generally speaking, country singers, as a rule, are going to go under. Now, but we're talking about some really low numbers here. The all-time in the betting era on it under is Billy Joel, who came back in Super Bowl 41, came with a number of 130, which would have only pushed the original number.
That's the all-time low. Okay.
No, that's not the all-time low. The supposed all-time low, and this is kind of an apocryphal number, is supposedly, I believe it's back in the late 70s or early 80s. Neil Diamond supposedly clocked in at a 102. Now, that's one of those things.
Wow.
It's sort of like the alleged 409.40 that Bo Jackson supposedly ran at Auburn.
But was the clock not functioning?
Honestly, is it possible that Neil Diamond showed up to the Super Bowl coked up and forgot a couple verses and ripped through the national anthem? It's possible, but it doesn't
Robert
seem likely.
Goulet's version was longer, and he left out like 2 lines. Yeah,
it doesn't seem likely he's coming in at 102. This woman, on the other hand, I've looked at all 3 major instances of her coming in at the national anthem here. At the Country Music Awards, she went for a 127. At a major Veterans Day parade, she went at 124. And then she clocked another 127. I believe it was at a hockey game. Might have been a Nashville's Predators game. I don't remember the stadium. Another 127, but honestly, it was a little doubtful it was 127 because I think they might have started the clock a little early on here. It might have been like a 125 or 126. So there's not a lot of history here. But if our friend Andy Byer were handicapping this one, he would put her at a monster speed number.
Triple digits, yeah, for sure.
And of course, here's the thing, Defo. You look at the performances too, and everybody who's spending their first time in the national anthem war room is focusing on the free and the brave. And she does not stretch on free or the brave. But if you get into the more advanced metrics, and you start, see, that's the thing.
You need one of those, right?
That's where everybody goes, but that's not it.
A little bit. Yeah.
That's not it. You got to go with the advanced metrics and the analytics. The key is the home. If you want to put up a monster national anthem over number, it's not the free or the brave. Everybody goes for the free or the brave. The ones who really stretch it on the home are the ones that put up the gigantic over-under numbers. So don't get fooled and go into the simple analysis and focus on the free or the brave. You got to look more at the total pack. And you know me, Defo, I don't like to look at just the numbers. When I'm scouting the national anthems, also like to look at the physical characteristics. And you look at this woman, as we've already said, she's got very fluid lyrical turn when it comes to the home. She's not someone who's going to stretch 3 out of 7 words. She may not even stretch any, but she's definitely not going to go for the stretch of 3 out of 7. And plus, when you're looking for someone who's a monster national anthem oversinger, you got to have that big upper torso that's common to. You got to have the gigantic diaphragm expansion that's going to let you go 3 out of 7. I don't know that I think this woman has that kind of frame to go for a big number. I'm going to go with the hot take and go definitely under on that number. And I think you're going to get some odds. Definitely. It's a strong one.
This is where the public can be fooled, though. I mean, that's all brilliant and a tremendous job by you scoping this thing out, Professor. And that's why you are who you are.
I've got some scouting information, Defo, here. Can I?
What if she shows up, though, on stage by surprise with a guitar accompaniment?
I'm not that worried about it. Again, country singer.
Here's Trace Atkins, joining Guyton on stage.
We're looking at a potential for an all-time low here, Defo. I brought some scouting material I used. Can I do a visual presentation today?
You did like a
You're
loner.
not fooling around today, Professor. This is, of all the games you've analyzed for us over the many years you've been with us on shows, this is the most in-depth you've ever gone in terms of the so-called deep dive.
Can I present you my information? Because we don't want to look at just this national anthem. We want to look at all potential national anthems. So I brought for you today my national anthem overs big board.
Very nice.
Our top 5 national. I'm trying to line it up with the camera. Our top 5 national anthem overs.
Okay.
I love the props. Yeah, I mean, you brought props to the props.
All right, number 5.
Oh, you got
Alicia
pictures
Keys.
of everybody.
Alicia Keys. There's a reason she's the all-time record holder. As Defo mentioned, if they bring an instrument, you got to watch them. But if they bring a full-size concert piano, know they're there to use it.
Yeah.
You don't study piano for 15 years without being there to show off your piano skills during the national anthem. Plus, people forget she's got a history of doing hip-hop duets. The one with Jay-Z is one of her most famous pieces. But before that, she was actually doing duets with Method Man. So she could show up anytime, and the RZA or Old Dirty Bastard, well, not him because he's dead, or Ghostface Killer could show up in the middle of the national anthem here.
So
Number
Mozart,
4,
you're going over.
Number 4 prospect,
all right.
Adam Levine.
Adam
Levine. Now, we all remember seeing him at the Super Bowl a few years ago. This is what he looked like at the Super Bowl a few years ago. But if you dress him up like people do the national anthem, you have him long sleeves, maybe a jacket, what does he look like? He looks like the guy every girl in Shiva school in Shaker Heights had a crush on back when they were 14 years old. So, at some point during Adam Levine national anthem, he's going to have to take his shirt off and show off his fake tattoos because his fan base, which is 98.7% consisting of menopausal women, they're not going to get excited by a shirt with Adam Levine with a shirt on. They need that little bit of dangerous but not actually dangerous that excites them in a way that their middle management husbands doesn't. So the key for Adam Levine to maintain his fan base is showing off the fake tattoos. That's going to take your national anthem over. Okay. Number 3.
Are you working with a new comedy writer or something? Man, this is sensational. Yeah.
Number 3, Chris Brown. Chris Brown.
Okay.
Obvious part in terms of him going the national anthem is he's going to start slow and catch up his embouchure because he's going to be out of breath when he comes to the stage because 30 seconds earlier he's going to commit an act of domestic violence. But that's surface area material in terms of him going over. The real thing with him going over, people don't know this, again, the advanced metrics, is that Chris Brown is the most frequent collaborator with DJ Khaled of any artist in pop music today. Wow. So about 30 seconds to a minute in, DJ Khaled is going to rush the stage, probably on a jet ski, and start screaming his own name and about how America the best over and over again during the national anthem, and that's going to take you way over.
Nice.
Number 2, and this is a controversial one. People don't believe it because of the country music. Taylor Swift is your number 2 national anthem over. Now, of course, country music singer, they go over. She doesn't really have the big voice. She doesn't have the huge high notes at the end for the stretch. But the thing is with Taylor Swift, she's going to include at least 2 extra whole verses about how she and Uncle Sam used to date a couple of years ago, and she thought he was the one, and he broke her heart, and all her friends on Instagram had to help her hear her heart whole for her to be good again during your national anthem, and that's going to take you over. And our number 1 national anthem,
especially prelude to Valentine's Day
of all time, Barbra Streisand.
Oh, Streisand.
That's good. It's not the huge notes. It's not the pausing to get applause during, although that's going to happen too. It's that Barbra Streisand has a power, I don't know how it is, to make everything seem like it much longer is. I don't know if you've ever seen Yentl, Defo, but I watched Yentl one time, and I swear that movie was 3.5 days long. Now,
she made Pauly Shore in that movie. She made him look like Laurence Olivier. I mean,
so
that
there,
would be acting in that
Defo,
movie. Yeah.
those are your top 5
Yes.
prospects to take a national anthem over.
Oh man, that was beautiful, Professor. I mean, all right. Any other props you're looking at? Maybe not in such detail. Anything that you really like out there?
There's a couple we actually do like. There's a kind of a weird one. I'm not sure I've ever seen a combined receivers on both teams score, but there's one Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase to go over 199.5 combined yards. It's sitting there at plus 105. I think the under on that is minus 130 or maybe 135. I think these two, one of them is going to have a huge day. I wouldn't be I'm completely shocked if one of them took that number over by himself. And I think at a combined, they're going well over 200 yards. So that's one. And then another one, just at long numbers to take a shot. If you want the big action, Cooper Kupp over 3 touchdowns is sitting at 11-1. And we know how much they like to focus him in the red zone. We know Stafford and he have a connection all over the field. It's a long shot, but again, at 11-1, I think that's worth a little bit of a chance. So Cooper Kupp over 3 touchdowns at 11-1, and Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp over 199.5 combined yards at plus 105. Are a couple of more, less research props that I'm liking in this.
Oh, no, that was sensational. I mean, that was the greatest professor dissertation ever, between the Hitler-laced diatribe about Wes Welker to the scathing indictment against all of the performers that were on the big board and the props. I mean, I have to give you props for the props there, Professor. Fantastic
That's
job.
top 5 ever. Good job.
You're getting all kinds of crazy commentary,
there's
talking about the level of excellence there on our chat line as well.
There's a very famous quote, Defo, that all that is necessary for evil to prosper is that good men do nothing. And once again, the Miami Dolphins have allowed evil to come into our midst
and penetrate,
infiltrated coaching room.
Yeah, it's a curse of Marino. They thought about trading Danny Boy to Minnesota.
It's very sad. I had hope for this staff. I really did, but that's over now.
That was tremendous. Yeah,
we're ruined once again. Thank you, Stephen Ross. You have once again destroyed any chance we had of prospering.
I always think of the King Crimson song and Court of the Crimson King, and the line in there, our fate, I fear, is in the hands of fools. And that's kind of how it is with government and also, unfortunately, with Miami Dolphins ownership and executive positions. Thanks, Professor. Great job. We owe you a drink at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill when we get down there. I hope you'll come join us again. That was sensational. We're going to be going back down there pretty soon. Hopefully when, after the Super Bowl, I would imagine Jimmy spends some time in the flip-flops and shorts, and as if he doesn't anyway, and probably join us for another show. So thanks so much, Professor. That was brilliant.
You guys have a great one.
You're the best.
That might have been, in all the years I've known a professor, I don't know. Should he not be an entertainment writer?
No, that was tremendous. That's why we have him on. I told him, and then our next guest, he's going to take a little sabbatical, but it's why I hope both of them join us the rest of the year. Now that we're here, and both can do video, there's no reason why we can't do our Degenerate Fridays every single week.
Get out of here. Mark Lawrence is going to be on the show physically appearing. Yes,
you asked Mr. Deforrest, and
I knew he could do it. I mean, the guy's a genius. What are you talking about? You hear the numerology this guy comes up with?
I know.
I mean, it's right there with the professor's very esoteric takes about various entertainers. All right. Didn't somebody just get fired for like a Hitler reference?
I know.
Why? Jack, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Getting far away from that comment.
I guess in the context in which it was said, it was probably...
He didn't compare him to Hitler. He didn't do any of that. It's just... You don't even want to.
Well, we want to detach ourselves from any responsibility for those comments of the professor. In fact, we had nothing to do with it, and they don't reflect the views necessarily of our listeners, our viewers, our sponsors, our management.
Even the professor himself who said it.
Strictly the professor. And you know what? If you want to bust somebody for it, bust him.
Shut him. He's fine.
We always have everybody's back that comes on the show. That's the way we operate. That's the way we roll. All right, we don't have to worry about Mark Lawrence. He's the epitome of, just absolute distinction and class when it comes to this sort of degeneracy. And yet at the same time, like us, he's a sick degenerate. So, that's why we appreciate it. Always great stuff. Had a tremendous season handicapping football games for us, both college and pros. I mean, way up on the winning side. And Mark Lawrence is going to join us next from Playbook. playbooksports.com. And he's going to have all kinds of stuff. I don't know if he couldn't bring himself to play the Rams, could he?
Oh, there's no way.
It's not possible. Although his numerology, I think, would be further evidence. I don't know if he has anything on the Cincinnati side, but everything that I see in terms of numerology and sabermetrics and analysis of that nature, points even more heavily to the Rams than I believe it should.
Yes.
So we'll see what Mark Lawrence has to say about that. And the Gambling Gourmet comes up later on. Hopefully he won't be as disgusting and filthy as he was last Friday on the show when he downed on air. He was shoveling spaghetti into his face with chili. It was smeared all over him. I mean, really, it looked like, you're feeding somebody and they really don't have much control over what they're doing anymore. It's unfortunate. And then the stuff's all over their face and you're like, oh, my poor soul, and that's kind of how we felt about Mayo last week on the show. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. We mentioned it, the big game. Everybody's asking, where are you watching a big game? Where are you watching a big game, Lubie? Where are you watching a big game, Defo? Can I join you? Whatever. Yeah. And I know where I'd love to be watching a game, and that would be Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I mean, I'm inclined to not even trying to, get into the sports bar, which would be a rocking atmosphere.
Wow. We have breaking news, and I'm not going to break it, but in our chat, we were just given some breaking news. Wow. But we'll keep that for
Oh, my God. I don't think I can go on with the show having
I know. I'm actually about to pass out. It's like a first on the show.
2 margaritas for Lubie and me.
I know. I don't know how we're going to get through the rest of it.
And a shot of tequila on the side. No, I don't care.
Is it freezing
Anytime.
outside? Has hell literally frozen? Are the pigs flying in the sky? I think that's what is about to happen next.
A shocker coming up from Mark Lawrence.
But something that's not shocking is
Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Yeah, the good time that you're going to have down there. It's fantastic. And I would be inclined to sit at the tiki bar there.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, they got, monitors there. And the game will be on all over the place. They may even pop a big screen. You know that Dominic Conjemi is going to be thinking of everything.
Yep.
And his lovely wife as they, are operating the place. And, any friend of John's or a relative, my God, that family. Yep. How great are they, the Conjemi family? John, the epitome of class. And reflected all the way through. His brother does a tremendous job. They take a lot of pride in what they put out of the kitchen there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. It's not just, okay, get a special over at table 32. They really care about every detail. So check it out, mile marker 104, Overseas Highway in Key Largo. We can't wait to get back down there and mingle with the Jimmer and talk about the football season that just happened and what might transpire ahead. I would imagine he has some opinions about the Miami Dolphins organization.
You would think.
He never says anything negative. That's why it was so weird that they were trashing Brian Flores going out the door. And a beautiful job at deflecting everything by Roger Goodell. As at first he categorically denies everything and says that Flores is a complete fraud. And then later, in a softer kind of light, he kind of renders Flores irrelevant, saying, well, you know what, we're going to look into a few of the things that he's saying, even though we're never going to do anything about it. And thank you, Brian, for alerting us to the problems. All right? Let this lawsuit go away unsettled. All right, we're coming back with Mark Lawrence here on the show. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, Key Largo. Great place to go. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz on Ion Channel. And the great Mark Lawrence makes a physical appearance on video here coming up in a moment. Now that.
The time.
What does Mark Lawrence look like? I really want to know. There he is, very distinguished. It's 8:28.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
Mark Lawrence, burial last night with the hook, the dagger right there in the small of my back. That hook did me in again. I should know better. What would happen to you? We've asked you this before. If you actually were giving points in a ball game, would you be able to live with yourself or look yourself in the mirror the next day?
I would probably be ordering my last meal at the same time.
There is nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the Defo Show and Neil Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on Jack Namer's fine organization, the ION channel, and you can Google the Defo Show and catch all of this, including that brilliance of the professor on the prop bets, which was as well researched as anything that I've ever heard. Of course, that was very existential and esoteric, and this is a man that deals in numbers. But, wow, if what Lubie told me is correct, Mark Lawrence, and welcome to the show, Mark Lawrence. We get to meet you here on video for the first time in the many appearances you've made over the years, which have been brilliant. You had a phenomenal season this year, handicapping games for us, always with the underdog. Mark, welcome to the video world of ION Channel, and thanks so much for being with us.
And my pleasure, as always, Defo. Great to be on board with you. And Mike, good to see you guys rather than being on telephone. And reminds me a little bit about our days at the Tiki Hut when I used to join you at the Tiki Hut. And we did our weekly shows. So it's nice to be on board with you, especially Super Bowl weekend.
Those were some wild times. You never knew who was going to show up there or what condition they would be in when we did those Tiki Bar shows, including the great Dennis Rodman, Hall of Famer.
Oh, I remember that interview. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I mean,
it's a good thing I don't smoke. I mean, if I'd have lit up a cigarette, my God.
Or a joint, he probably would have taken a hit, and it might have enhanced his mood even more. Mark Lawrence, all right, this can't be true. Even my mother is, may she rest in peace in heaven. I cannot believe. I sent her, some kind of spiritual message, and she said, Mark Lawrence is not going to come on your show and go against what he's done for the last 10 or 12 years we've been having you on. Playbooksports.com. Are you about to sell the publication or something? What's going on here? Because Lubie tells me you might have a lean in a different direction than you normally take on this Super Bowl game.
Well, let me preface it by saying that nothing looks the way it does on the surface, okay? And when Lubie asked me, I told him I actually do have the Rams in the football game.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Wow. Wait. This is laying points?
Wow.
Mark Lawrence?
No, it is not
points?
laying points. It is not laying points, okay? What I did was I had bet at the beginning of the football season the Rams to win the Super Bowl at 12.5 to 1.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Okay, well,
okay, good.
Typical Lawrence brilliance.
So now we're put ourselves into a position where we can hedge that play and play the Cincinnati Bengals and guarantee some money in the bank account, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's always an interesting conversation. And you know our good buddy Jersey Kyle Martinez, who was not able to be with us today, a little under the weather. And he has been under the weather since our trip to Las Vegas, which started out great for him and then ended up in the, I don't know about steep decline, but it wasn't favorable, the end result. And, he's always going the opposite way on the money line. And then he had a chance to hedge a bet. He had a double money line underdog play, which was paying 9-1 on the conference championship games, right? So now the Bengals are getting blown out in the first half. We're all saying, hey, Jersey, you may want to rethink your position here. And then they come back and win the game. Now he's in a position to pick up 900 for his 100. Would you not have hedged off? I mean, you're Mark Lawrence. Obviously, money management comes very much into play. Is it reckless not to hedge off in that spot and at least get your money back out of the bet? Because, what's better, winning 800 or, just having the thing go up in smoke like it did when San Francisco wasn't able to come up? Tark was the guy that dropped the interception. Otherwise, we're having a different conversation. But you're inclined to hedge here on this 12-1. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and as far as your friend is concerned, I think it depends largely upon what that $900 means to him. Is it the next car payment? Can it help the house payment?
I think it involves several car payments, as a matter of fact. He got his car at Deal Volkswagen, and the payments are low.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But the name of the game is profit, okay? And we do whatever we need to do to guarantee or make a profit. And if you can hedge in and make a profit, you absolutely have to do that. That's what they call hedge fund managers. That's exactly what they do. That's their business, and you have to do the same thing in the world of sports. But the thing you don't want to do is ultimately when people want to spread games, when I'm talking about spreading games, that's talking about taking 2 different point spreads, taking 3 points and laying 5 points.
Yeah.
So if the game falls 4 in the middle, you win both ways.
That's a tough call. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But if you end up with laying 3 points in a football game and taking 5 might be a bad number, and you don't want to make a bad bet just for the sake of hedging. So it all goes back to what we opened up the conversation with about how much does that return mean to you as an individual. And if that $900 for your friend was profitable and makes his day, then absolutely hedge that bet, because like I say, we're all in this to make profits.
Well, and under that same principle, Mark Lawrence, you need ammunition. I mean, if you're going to keep going, and let's face it, as a horse player, I'm screen to screen. You have to cash a lot of tickets to keep yourself in that game. If you have one of those days where you can't cash a ticket, you're going to lose your bankroll very quickly, go back to the ATM machine, lose way more than you anticipated when you said, hey, I'm taking 300 to the track. And then you're going to end up feeling very badly about the whole thing. But when you have a chance, I think, to guarantee yourself a profit, it can also keep you rolling. And in this case, we were on day 3 or day 4 of what would have been 5 in Las Vegas. And, he would have had more bullets to fire the next day also if he had just hedged off a little bit instead of coming out of there empty.
It's always nice to have more bullets. You know that, Defo. The fact of the matter is we all know of Mattress Mac. You're familiar with him, I'm sure.
The guy from Houston.
Well,
and he's a big horse racing guy, too.
A big horse racing guy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Run Happy, is on every advertisement that you see for anything anymore. That one horse is like a $10,000 stallion, but that's Mattress Mac's horse. And, he must be dumping zillions into the horse racing game just to keep it afloat.
Well, he's making zillions in the furniture business is what he's doing. And his bet with Cincinnati in the Super Bowl here, he put up $4.5 million.
Oh, he was a guy.
Yeah, to win $7.7 million. He played them on a money line, Cincinnati. Okay?
Wow.
But the fact of the matter is he makes more money in this game if the Rams win than Cincinnati. And the reason being this, he does this, his whole gambit, his whole plan is you come in and you buy furniture from me. If Cincinnati wins the Super Bowl, your furniture is free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay, that's the gimmick, okay?
Right.
So that's the hook. So he sells $20 million worth of furniture with a 50% markup, and he makes $10 million. If he, look at this football game here. Now he's got $4.5 million to win $7.5 million with Cincinnati. He makes $4.5 million if the Rams win the football game. If the Bengals win, he makes $2.3 million net.
Right.
Okay.
So
from a $10 million profit of selling furniture, you take $7.7 million out of the equation. It's $2.3 million net. Therefore, if the Rams win the game, he makes $2.2 million more if the Rams win the football game.
Yeah, people think he's a crazy man, but actually, a personal story also. A friend of mine, Frank Miramati, who was the track announcer at Santa Anita now, and of course started here in South Florida at Hialeah Park, and then moved on, and he was at various tracks, and a real good guy. But he was having, he had like a diagnosis of some form of cancer that was very bizarre. And Mattress Mac actually personally, because he's a horse racing fan, not even knowing Miramati personally at the time, but he took care of him. He flew him out like to Houston on a private jet because they have like better facilities there or treatment there, and took care of his whole treatment and essentially kind of like helped save his life. So real good guy. I mean, he has a heart of gold, this Mattress Mac. So you kind of root for him, but it's funny as you say that because he looks like an insane person for making these bets, and yet he's better off if he loses because he's just hedged his position there on the furniture that he's not going to have to give away if the other team wins. All right, what do you think? I mean, your analysis says one about this ball game. You obviously want to cash the 12-1 ticket. I don't think you would hedge off the entire thing there, but which would make no sense. So, what is it about the numerology? And I know your tendency would be not to give out either team if you liked the favorite in the ball game, laying the points. So, what do you see, Mark Lawrence, in your crystal ball?
Well, the things I see coming into this game here, first of all, guys, is this is not the most sparkling Super Bowl matchup we've seen. In fact, it's the worst. It's a matchup of the only two teams in NFL history that have made it to the Super Bowl that each played in the wild card round.
Yeah.
And with that, they don't bring a whole lot of glossy stats into the game. Neither team ranks near the top 10 in offense and defense. Very, very average stats. So it looks like on paper here, we're not going to see much of a Super Bowl game. I believe otherwise. I think we're going to see an exciting Super Bowl game, and I think we're going to see a Super Bowl game that's played just the same way these playoffs have played, right down to who scores last wins this football game. This is the amazing thing in this game here. If you look at the Super Bowls here, the last 15 Super Bowls, when you've had a pairing of a team that has the better record, the team with the better record in the last 15 Super Bowls is 1-14 against the spread.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong number.
That's crazy.
Yep. They've lost 10 of those games straight up on the scoreboard, okay, but 1-14 against the spread. Then you've got the other side of the equation here. We all know about how the success that Joe Burrow has met with in his days at LSU and in the NFL. Jamar Chase and him together have never lost a postseason game in their careers together. 7 times they've been there. 7 times they've won, and 7 times they brought home the money. They know how to win football games. I think the pressure here is squarely on the LA Rams in the football contest here. One, because of the 13-3 egg they laid in the last Super Bowl in which they were at. The other is they're at home in the Super Bowl game. Second year in a row, home teams are now in the Super Bowl. Good friend of mine, Chris Andrews, the odds maker at the South Point in Las Vegas, he awarded 0 points to the Rams for the home field advantage. There is no home field advantage in this football game. Number one, it's corporate fans in the stands. And number two, if you saw the playoff game between the Rams and the 49ers in the championship game, it was all 49er fans in the field there. You know, the LA people tend to sit at home and don't really get into the games and support their football teams. I think there's a great spot here for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals to pull the upset in the game here. I've got to play the points if I'm betting the football game, I'm betting the Cincinnati Bengals. But as I clarified earlier here, another reason, like Mattress Mac, I'll be pulling for the Rams.
12-1.
That's a perfect position, though, and that's one of the things about making these future bets, or having like betting a golf tournament, right, where you have a guy that's leading going into the final round. You have an opportunity to hedge and end up making money, but you should be rewarded because, and that's one of the reasons that I'm also, people think it's like a Jewish trait of mine that I'm going to hedge my bets all the time, but that may be the case. I don't know. I don't know if I could really be qualified to speak on that, but even being Jewish, but it just makes sense that you put yourself in a position to be a winner.
Yep.
So why not leave a winner? It's the reverse of what Denzel Washington got from that Asian drug dealer when he said quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I carry that philosophy into things, and you don't want to hedge off so badly that you compromise the chance that you can make a good score. But if you're in a position like you are, Mark Lawrence, at 12-1. What's wrong with putting a few shekels on the Cincinnati Bengals, especially since you just made a very brilliant case about how they can beat this point spread? Because a lot of people think I saw somebody bet $1,000 on Evan McPherson to be the MVP, the kicker for Cincinnati, at 1,000-1. That's if Cincinnati wins, the likelihood is, and this was also interesting. If you like Cincinnati on the money line, you could get plus 235 on Joe Burrow to be the MVP. And I think the money line is like what, plus 180 maybe now?
Yeah, plus 170, right, in that range.
Okay. So, if you think Cincinnati's going to win, do you just go ahead and roll the dice, figure that the quarterback naturally had to have a good game, And or do you bet on Eli Apple to be the MVP?
Well, hardly Eli Apple, believe me. A couple of MVP plays that I did make in the game.
What do you like? Aaron Donald is getting a lot of steam.
I played Aaron Donald. If the Rams win the football game, it will largely be because attributable to their defense. And Aaron Donald is the kingpin in that defense. The second best player in that defense is Jalen Ramsey, who is 980 to 1. Person can put up $100 and win 9,800 on Jalen Ramsey to win the MVP. I would take a look at that side of the equation. My best prop, though, is fading Joe Burrow on the passing yards in the football game. I believe I talked to Lubie about this maybe last week.
Last week.
I did. Yeah. Okay. So, and basically what it comes down to in a nutshell is he's the 7th youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl game at age 25 or younger. Dan Marino, by the way, is the youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl game. He was
should have used that yesterday on the trivia challenge.
Yeah, we should have reminded him back in the days he was the young kid, the youngest kid ever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, these other 6 quarterbacks that were 25 or younger that's made their first start in the Super Bowl, they've had a combined cumulative passer rating of 61.75. Not very good. So will Joe Burrow succumb to the pressure of doing all that and underperform that way? He could, but there'll be other players that would step up to fill that role. Joe Mixon, I think, is a possibility for a Super Bowl MVP because I think we'll see the ball in his hands a lot in this football game. So there's a lot of intrigue in the football game. There's a good chance for Cincinnati to pull this upset. Remember, all 5 of the Rams' losses this year came as favorites against playoff teams. So when they do fold, they fold against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals. So make Cincinnati Bengals a live dog in the football game. There's a good chance I think they can win this contest.
Rams, do pin the needle into the red on the chokeometer. And we've seen it in virtually all of these games that they played from the last game of the regular season all the way through the postseason. They always seem to be just kind of dangling that sword of Damocles, except, they did come back in a game against San Francisco. But, they have a penchant, as they did throughout that ball game, to give stuff away. All right. I'm thinking, Mark Lawrence, and please convince me not to do this. But I think if you research this in the database, and I don't know that you get into these kind of intangibles there because you're pretty solid with all of the numbers about yardage and this and that. But Sean McVay to call the first timeout. We're going to use that component in all of our parlays on Super Bowl bets. At minus 115. I think there's a Mark Laurentian type of trend there that, it's like 9 times in a row he's called the first timeout in a ball game. Last 9 times they've taken a field. I mean, I'm thinking unless Joe Burrow forgets to put one of his shoes on, there's no reason that Zach Taylor's going to go to a timeout before Sean McVay does, which usually happens in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Well, those are good numbers, 9 straight times.
I believe that's it. It's something like that.
Well, it's his propensity to do that because situations aren't what he wants them to be, and he wants to settle things back.
Yep.
If you have those numbers behind the play and you're getting a good number, it's likely a good Super Bowl prop. I think the best Super Bowl prop that I've heard going into the Super Bowl is the team that scores last wins the football game.
Wow.
This thing has won 14 of the last 15 years. The team that scores last wins the Super Bowl game. You might want to look at that. It's a little bit costly, but nonetheless, you don't want to be on the opposite side of that particular prop.
Why would we consider that? I mean, with our penchant for losing and self-sabotage, 14 out of 15, not necessarily convincing numbers for guys like Lubie and me. All right, playbooksports.com. Anybody that just saw this segment and listened to it, you realize that Mark Lawrence is number one. He is the Bill James of all of these kind of things, and just unbelievable numbers and qualifiers that he has in making wagers and guiding you into the right path here. So, with apologies to Anita Marks, the ESPN gambling expert, where can people zero in and get some real information? Playbooksports.com.
It's real easy, Defo. Just log on at playbooksports.com. You can pick up our Super Bowl newsletter, our weekly basketball newsletters, and as Lubie mentioned, I'm going to be going on a little bit of a break here. We're getting our Playbook Football Preview Guide magazine ready for the 2022 football season.
Nice.
I've got to do a lot of work here between now and when I come back, but I'm going to revisit you guys when March Madness gets here. I'll look forward to that. saddling back up with you guys. So we'll tune in then. And in the meantime, enjoy the Super Bowl game.
Very handsome, distinguished gentleman. As you can see, people, Mark Lawrence, playbooksports.com. Always a feature on the program, always brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us, Mark, and enjoy the game.
My pleasure, as always, guys. You guys be well. Stay safe, Lubie. I'll catch up with you down the road. Thanks.
Talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you.
Right there with Mattress Mac in terms of innovation. Mark
I love that he's still not going favorite and hedging. That's a double whammy of greatness. I love that. I love that he's
in a position to do it and still profit handsomely if the Rams win the game. And he happens to be, at this point, he's sitting there in a great position.
Yes.
Don't you always want to be in a commanding and winning position?
It's win-win. It's the definition of win-win. Good for him. That's great.
And it's not gambling anymore, right?
It's finally winning.
Speaking of gambling and degeneracy, the Gambling Gourmet is going to be with us next, and we'll feature Mike Mayo, and I hope he doesn't do something disgusting. I mean, we've just had two brilliant performances here. I thought the professor was his best ever.
Amazing.
Anytime he's been on any show that I've seen him perform on.
That was spectacular.
Fantastic today with the props and everything.
Yep.
And Mayo started the trend, though, with the props on the video stream here on Ion Channel. By the way, thanks again, Ion Channel, all the people that are tuning in. We're also available on 5 Reasons Sports Network, which, did they ever figure out how to do that, Libby? It seems to be gathering some steam there in terms of the numerology, which is good. That's a local entity here with our good friend Scoop Skolnick and Believe Podcast Network. Did we air that thing with Brandon Lang yesterday? Was that
yes,
yesterday?
It's up right now, Believe.com, to search After Hours, and he gives some props, gives some some very graphic takes.
Oh, my God.
Also does a nod to
This guy with his transvestites. I mean,
I was going that direction.
There was an over-under 30 seconds before he mentioned a tranny.
Went under.
And as he said hello, he said, I was with 2 transvestites last night. It's like, okay. Brandon. But very graphic, very colorful, and very illuminating. 25-4, I think he said, picking Super Bowls. And we were there. I mean, we've referenced this many times where, 30 out of 31 people like Carolina when we were at San Francisco in, one of those Radio Row situations, and we interviewed everybody and asked them their pick at the end. Everybody liked Carolina. Brandon Lang was the one guy that distinctively said, oh, and those 2 clowns from Denver that were next to us in the booth. How come we're always next to somebody from Denver?
I don't know.
When we're on one of these Radio Row situations, Libby.
Always.
Is that some kind of subliminal message that will be our next job, right? 2 callers.
It's a good market. This is cool.
All right, coming back with the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, a longtime sports writer with the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, of course, became a city editor, city writer and reporter, and an editorial guy, and then became the food critic, his smartest move ever, as he is, really finely tuned on the local food scene and around the world as well. So we'll have the Gambling Gourmet. No doubt we'll have some thoughts about the Super Bowl game and the Mike McDaniel hiring and press conference, the way things were handled by the NFL and the Miami Dolphins in light of the Brian Flores lawsuit. That's coming up in just a moment here on Ion Channel. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:52. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Fight Brian Cox in the locker room. He'll challenge Bill Parcells to a verbal shout-out. He'll stare down Johnny Chan while holding pocket twos.
And then he goes
Mike
to
Mayo,
the London
Gambling
Business
Gourmet.
School for the savants.
How about that? Yeah.
I will crush
London
your
School
hopes
of
and
Finance.
dreams with it.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us here.
I do all those things, and I also crush your hopes and dreams with a 3-word text giving you the bad news about game one.
Well, this was particularly brutal, and Michael, I thank you for doing that.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the Defo Show here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the great people at Gulfstream Park. And we welcome to the show. Though, did you use some Just for Men or a can of Krylon on your hair last night, or change the lighting there in your household? Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. What happened to those shades of gray, my friend? 50 Shades of Gray.
It's just. Can you hear me? By the way, can you
Yes,
hear me?
we hear you just fine. Yes.
Okay, because I don't want to say the curse of Lubie struck again, but
not the echo chamber.
Well, right now it's good. It's beautiful on this
good.
restream. But on the other thing,
we believe that's
the
radio
clean
station.
feed.
Yeah, we believe that's a radio station.
I'll believe in anything. Yeah. I'll believe in Mattress Mac, and I'll believe in Mark Lawrence. I'll even believe in Brandon Lang. But so thankfully, you can hear me, and I can hear you without an echo. So we're good. So the curse of Lubie is
what's
gone.
up with the hair first?
What do you mean? I need
it got darker. I mean, come on.
It's darker. I think it's the lighting.
I'm sitting here like I'm, Michael Bolton. Showing the full splendor of that. I've gone completely old and white. What did you do?
I swear, as an Eagle Scout, I did not touch my hair. I need a haircut desperately.
No,
but I think it's just the lighting. Let me see. If I go this way, you can see there it is. It's back, right?
All right. Okay. A little bit of shades of gray.
I'm a very much of a naturalist. I don't believe in cosmetic surgery. I don't believe in Botox. I don't believe in coloring hair. I'm going with the flow, and that's it. I mean,
I'm with you on that. At this stage, there's no point trying to fake anybody out. Yeah.
And,
I'm an old fat Jew from Brooklyn, and maybe at the tail end of a very modest career.
I call myself chubby, but I'm also a chubby old man from Brooklyn. I've always been acting older than my years. And you caught me now. I was bouncing the checkbook because I'm just trying to see how much money I'm going to have to plunge my guts out this weekend.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Horse racing? Or you don't really bet on sports that much.
No. The question, Defo, is what am I not going to do? Which is, I think there might be some poker in the cards. There might be some horses in the cards, and then we'll see what's left for
the Super Bowl
Sunday.
Oh Jesus!
Beware.
There you go again. You're not going to do that again because people found that so disgusting and distasteful that a lot of people stopped watching the show. They said last week, including Jack Namer, who thought it was just absolutely grotesque.
And there's not many left to lose, so we can't afford to piss anybody off. But no, I'm not going to drink any Skyline chili. I was thinking about opening it up and just licking the frozen product, and like
I could see you eating it frozen, though. I really could. You, a man of distinguished taste, and who gave me that scathing indictment of a local restaurant here that I'm now going to make a very convenient excuse.
Let's call a spade a spade. Mastro's. It's a ripoff joint. It's for people who have more dollars than cents.
My friends all want to go there tomorrow night.
Fine, they can go if they're picking up the bill. But
it's
really okay. If I'm going to spend that kind of money and go to a steakhouse, I'm going.
I'd rather go to two places that were just as good food.
You go. You tell me because I
mean you could go to and have two dinners for the prices there. They were charging like $250 for some lamb chops or something.
As much as I love Tropical Acres, that's a kind of different kind of joint. But for the ones that want like below the bank prices,
high-end fufu,
my two spots for steak is Bourbon Steak. Have you ever been there? It's near Gulfstream in the Turnberry Resort there.
Have not been there. No,
it's excellent, and they start the meal with a complimentary trio of French fries that are fried in duck fat. So they call it the duck fat fry trio, and they each one has a different dipping sauce. And then they have just a tremendous menu, great steaks, and award-winning wine list. So Bourbon Steak is I guess it's owned and operated by the he calls himself a celebrity chef, Michael Mina, but he's had a executive chef running the show there since it's open. It's been about 13 or 14 years now. A guy
All
named Gabe Fenton, and they just do a tremendous job. Every time I go in there, I really enjoy it. So that's bourbon steak. So this is after you cash your winning tickets, whether it's at the racetrack, the casino.
I'm going to take that one prop on the Super Bowl. I believe I've been talking about it so much. I have to do it. That Sean McVay is going to call the first time out.
You have to do it.
Okay. And then we had, I don't know if you caught the brilliant dissertation by the professor on the anthem going under with this country singer that I never heard of, Mickey Guyton, who, unless she comes out with like, Alicia Keys playing piano accompaniment, this thing is like the biggest cinch under in the history of the anthem proposition band.
So I missed the professor, much to my chagrin. I caught the tail.
You really need to catch that in the archives. It's classic.
I will. No, I was busy listening to Brandon Lang and his Believe, the
he
After
was very
Hours
graphic,
podcast.
would you say?
I gotta say, well, you use the word graphic. I say profane.
I think graphic is even worse than profane.
But the
graphic is what Goodell would have said about it.
The bottom line is the guy seems a little obsessed with penis size. I don't know what it is, but he's always talking about
it's his
laying
go-to
down
material.
the pipe and measuring things and but be that as it may, I also need to educate you, Defo, because it is the year 2022, and you keep referring it to it as transvestites. It's transsexuals, transsexual community. So
trannies, I guess would be the
these
abbreviation.
are people.
But that's not my wheelhouse. Talking transvestites, it really isn't. Or trannies, transgender. It's just not. I don't know. I mean,
no,
I respect everybody. Be whatever you want. Bruce Jenner. It's unbelievable. He became a woman. Okay, every guy wanted to have the body and the life of Bruce Jenner and be able to win the decathlon and then go home to a beautiful babe who loves him and adores him and reap the benefits of being on Wheaties boxes and making jillions of dollars. And the odds that he would be a woman. What kind of prop would you have gotten on that?
I guess he got sick of the pole vault or something. So
there you go. There you go, Mayo. You went right into the gutter like Lang.
Now, does that get me canceled? Am I done? Are we done at 9 o'clock? Good day, everybody. See ya.
It's funny. One time, I hate to admit this, but I was probably working while in no condition to do so. And
like me yesterday. Oh my!
Well, I was on a trip to Disney World, and I was with like kind of a new girl at the time, and but we were doing a little partying, so to speak. And I'm interviewing Bruce Jenner like the next morning on the Trivia Challenge. They brought us Bruce Jenner. He was one of the celebrities. The reason that we were there was to cover this opening of something that they had going at Disney World. Lubie and I have been up there under those same circumstances, and it's always good. They treat you like a champ. Jenner was one of the most delightful guys that I ever interviewed, and this was shortly before, I guess, within 10 years of when he made this transition. And I remember thinking, wow, I mean, as can I say it? As fucked up as I was while I was doing the show, this guy made it a pleasure. Right. And I was able to get through it. So I'm a big fan of Bruce Jenner. I just wanted to qualify that before we throw him under the bus like you did with your pole vault jokes. May I? All right. So
be that as it may, let's get.
I have
and
a
I
couple
was
of things for you too. Yeah,
I was very impressed to see Mark Lawrence on video, and
wasn't he great?
I do appreciate the way he threw on the jacket over the
black
nice shirt, as opposed to me, who just.
Oh no, we're very casual. We're going Joe Rogan on this thing. Yeah. So I think we are going the route of Joe Rogan. The way we've been speaking of things today, we had a Hitler reference earlier in the show.
I missed that.
My
I missed that.
God.
And I missed the professor, and the professor was
brilliant.
It was a hoot meeting him out at our Even Keel remote for the Lunchbox show the other day.
He got us going.
And
the professor came by. Wow,
the one that set up, I couldn't figure that shit out. We didn't see your settings back. That's probably what fucked you yesterday.
That's exactly what happened, and I'm going to need help later, but we'll talk about that off the air. But and I never got to Steakhouse number 2. Do you care about the other steakhouse, or you just
You want
Mastro's
to know a lot of detail on the first one here,
or do you want me to
a couple of things here? But what's the other? Name the other place.
New York Prime and Boca gets.
Okay, yeah, we've been there.
Yeah.
You like it? It's pretty solid.
It's a stronghold of our good friend the Greek, who used to be on the radio station we were on in the afternoons, and of course, still friends. Although I haven't talked to him since I proposed that he do a show on this network. I noticed he hasn't called.
Not on speaking terms. All right, but.
No, he was very excited about it. I think Jack Namer ought to, look into this and expand the horizons of the content we're offering in terms of degenerate gambling. And we had a great name for the show, which escapes me right now, but it'll come to me. Yeah.
So, fill me in, because I saw that Brandon Lang was heavily going towards the
He loves the Rams. Yeah.
He just thought it's like a slam dunk Rams by over
Mismatch.
10. Mismatch, battle of the trenches, which, that completely makes, from a football analysis standpoint, complete sense.
Yes.
And then I saw that, Mark Lawrence, he could never go against, he can never bet on a favorite, and he's already got his situation is that
his situation is perfect because it's not like he's backing the favorite, but if the favorite wins, he benefits greatly.
Right. So
and if the underdog wins, he's right about his analysis about this particular game. But that's the beauty of being in that position. It's kind of like you have the first 4 of a pick 5. And you have multiple horses in the next leg, but you're missing a few. I mean, and they're usually bombs. So why not put a few bucks on the bombs?
So is he doing? He's going to throw a little bit on.
He's going to hedge off. He's got 12-1. I don't know what his standard wager is. Let's say he's got a dime on it at 12-1. He's picking up 12,000 if the Rams win.
Yeah.
So what? You better a small
plus
amount,
180,
a couple of dimes. Plus 180.
Plus 180. I throw 2 dimes on the Bengals, and that way
you're
short of a little profit. And I love the way he broke down the whole ruse of the Mattress Mac thing, where people who are lay people and not degenerate gamblers like us, we understand what he's doing.
That's what he's doing
when it comes to giving the discount on the overinflated prices at his stores. So either way, he wins.
Yep.
And it's an instructive lesson.
The overinflated prices.
That's true.
I was describing him as this great humanitarian.
He is a great humanitarian. But you know how great philanthropists are born? On the backs of exploitation of the little guys that they
listen to you, man. A heavy thing that came right out of Tufts.
That's my London School of Economics and Political Science, where I believe Karl Marx also studied. So
there you go. So we've had Marx and Hitler mentioned on this show alone. I mean, how are we going to get to Monday? Super Bowl analysis. All right, what do you think, Mike Mayo, of that? And I wanted to get your
opinion. What
was the
professor? What was his take? Which way?
I don't think he gave the game. He had researched the under on the anthem. He had the under on the anthem. Massive research.
Yes.
And then he had his big board of top 5 overachievers when it came to going over on the anthem, and he broke that down in great detail with his usual satirical style, and it really was great. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. That was one of the best pieces I've seen or heard on any show. It was absolutely fantastic.
He also likes prop wise Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. There's a prop over
each score
behind 199 yards.
Oh yeah.
And he thinks one could get 200, so he likes that over.
Yes.
Combined getting
plus one. I mean, minus 105 on that.
Here's a prop bet for you.
Yeah.
What are the odds right now? If you ask me who are the coaches of both teams, that I would know the answer.
Jesus, that's sad.
I would say yes to that.
In the Super Bowl.
You don't read about sports like you used to. You're so immersed in the food world that you don't even follow this stuff anymore. What would Jim Sarney say about that?
No, Jim Sarney thinks I'm a disgrace, even though I did watch
a disgrace. Yes, you did this for years. Your dream was to be a sports writer, Mike Mayo.
And now my dream is to just eat vats of Skyline chili. No, actually eat.
You will be. Well, you're going to eat mine, and you're going to eat Lubie's that day that I'm buying lunch.
All right,
and I'm rooting for Cincinnati to win. I would like to see the
and
Cinderella
let's just clarify on the record what the bet is. If the Bengals end up winning the game, or no, we did it against the spread. So if the Bengals cover by 4 and a hook,
we threw the spread in there now. Mayo, come on.
Always have the spread.
We always had the spread. Come on.
All right, that's fine. I'll give you the 4 points.
Okay, come on. Yeah. So yeah, no. If the Bengals cover or win, basically you take Lubie and I out to lunch at Skyline Chili, and you have to eat a representative amount of
the faux by faux, the Moses Malone.
Either a choice of one whole coney dog, and they're not that big. Brandon Lang would be upset about
what's involved in that. What's inside that? Not that hideous chili.
No, it's a little wiener.
Wiener. There you go. Now you're back on the Brandon Lang story.
It's a little doable thing because there's not that.
It's a little wiener in a bun with a little chili on top, along with the cheese and the onions, if you want.
No sweat.
And that it covers up the. It's not that much of the chili.
Yeah.
Let's do it this
sucks.
way.
I mean, it really does.
If the Bengals don't win outright, all you have to do is a coney dog. If the Bengals do win outright, you have to put down at least a half plate of the chili spaghetti, extra wet with
half a plate.
Well, we'll
You're
judge.
asking a lot here, Mike. I'll pick up the check. You slobber down all of that junk that you want. I wouldn't feed it to my dog. I mean,
if it's the Rams next week on the air, I will eat this frozen Skyline chili in a frozen block. I will just gnaw on it.
No.
You don't have to do it.
Everyone's a loser.
You could take us to lunch at Even Keel or something. That'll be fine.
I want a good
All right, we'll
Very
do that.
reasonable during a happy hour.
How about the next pizza spot? We're going to have to do a remote.
Oh, that'd be great.
spot.
Yeah.
That will be on me. All the pizza
That'll be nice.
that you can
Okay.
eat.
Those pies look great.
Kind of
all right.
So,
all right,
and
so,
my
so what do
pick-
you think? What do you think about the game? I mean, you never.
What
saw
I
it.
think about the game is that probably Brandon Lang is right.
I'll be
It's
rooting
probably
for
going to be
Cincinnati. Yeah.
I'm rooting for Cincinnati,
Even
because
if I lose the bet.
as an old sports writer, I always root for the better story, and the better story is Cincinnati winning its first Super Bowl as a franchise. Joe Burrow being this now mythic creature of following in the line of heroic Joes between, Joe Willie Namath, Joe Montana, and if this gunslinger comes in and after winning a college championship then wins the Super Bowl, that's a great story.
He's Magic Johnson at that point. Yeah.
So we can. That is the best story. But if you do the analysis football wise, I imagine the Rams look on paper like to be the better team, and that this matchup of the lines is going to be maybe making for a very long day for Joe Burrow. That he'll maybe wanting to burrow into the ground after getting sacked 6 or 7 times, but. This is why they play the games. Like, I'm always a big proponent of when everybody zigs, I like to zag. And if every NFL expert and football analyst in the world is picking the Rams, because last year wasn't everybody picking
Chiefs
the
by like a lot.
Chiefs?
Yep.
And lo and behold, Tom Brady, who, by the way, did you know he's 44? He was able to
I think he's 45 now. He might
now he's
have
45.
aged another year. It's possible.
And when everybody's going one way, then I'm not afraid to go the other way. I'm going to pick Cincinnati. I'm going to say it's going to be one of those middling games by a field goal. I'm saying 27-24. I've got a Super Bowl box that has an 8 and a 1, and the beauty of the 2-point conversion
what are
is
the
now,
chances there? You could hit the 1. The 8's going to be tough.
well,
right?
21 and no 28-21 is doable. Right?
Oh,
So,
28.
yeah. What you don't
you're
want is the
dreaming there, man.
9s.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm only kidding.
it's feasible. And the thing
Twos
is now,
are bad. Twos are really bad in the
but
boxes.
nowadays with the 2-point conversion and all these knucklehead coaches doing stupid things early in the game, you could get any number at any time. So that's it makes it a lot more exciting for
2
the
and
Super
5
Bowl
are
threes.
bad numbers in general, are they not? 2 and 5.
Yeah,
You would think
I
very
guess.
tough to achieve. Threes, obviously, you're going to get a field goal there at some point. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm in a box thing, and I always draw bad numbers. Although I have cashed on that in the past. Jersey Kyle was in a position just before. I think we established that was that James Harrison run back of a fumble from the goal line. And he goes 99 yards for the Steelers in that one Super Bowl game. And had nothing happen there except what was obviously about to take place, which was a score for the other team. Jersey Kyle was sitting on like a $50,000 score from a $500 box scheme that he was involved in from some bar in New Jersey. And I've never seen he doesn't usually react that negatively to getting coned.
No, that's a soul crushing thing.
Yeah,
That'll-
he broke a couple of windows in a house and
that will
threw
crush
everybody
your
out of his
soul
party.
when you're
Yeah.
that close. But that's the beauty.
Dumped
of
the girl he was with right on the spot there. Told her, sweetheart, get
Bad
the fuck
luck?
out of here. Yeah.
Oh, that's like people who blame the poker dealer for bad luck. You can't blame the car. I mean, you can't blame the dealer. You blame yourself for ever playing the stupid game. That's
No, it's a great game. Come on. I mean, even on video poker, it's fascinating.
Oh no, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. But like the other night when I fucking grind away for 8 hours and trying to get to day 2 and
It's work.
A guaranteed cash if you make it to day 2, and but you had to make it to the final 6% of the field. It was 196 players in the other night. I was down there at 2 a.m., 18 left, and I shove all in with an ace jack. And the other broad, it's always a broad, who
Oh,
has
geez.
pocket
There you go.
eights.
Demeaning
and-
women now, too. Yeah.
And what comes on the flop? But 8 comes right on the flop.
There you
I
go.
lose my coin flip. I'm out the door. 18.
Pocket eights,
They're only paying
losing hand.
12. I
Yeah.
needed to make it to the final 12 to come back for tomorrow. Would have been day 2. And instead, I'm going to be plunging my guts out at Gulfstream. So I guess
All right.
it's a win. It's a win.
All right, sounds good. All right, Mike Mayo. I mean, people are going to need to get drunk during the Super Bowl, and the people
Yes.
here in South Florida have the advantage. And I don't know if these guys do shipping off a website or anything like that, but it'd be worth exploring. Primo Liquors, one of your favorite places. And I love this guy, Sam, who used to work for a Degenerate Broadcasting Network, believe it or not.
Did not
Yeah,
know
what is that, Fire Stick or something like that? And all
okay.
they want is like gambling content. Jack, are you listening? Call these guys. They're like a CBS affiliate, but
Fine
Sam,
wine.
turn me
We
on to
love
it.
them. I think I'm going to be out there later today at the Southwest Ranches location because
Nice.
they're having a big wine tasting. And I love going to their wine tasting events because Sam is out there and he's like, he could be a politician.
He's great.
the
Yeah.
greatest, he just knows how to work a crowd, and he also knows how to open up some good bottles of wine. So you'll taste something and then you'll say, oh yeah, I need that. So that's a good salesman. He give you a little taste and you're going to want to bring it home. Primo Liquors and Fine Wines. They have 5 locations in Broward. There's 2 in Fort Lauderdale, 1 across from the Galleria Mall that you and I have to go in sometime there, Defo. And then
I keep saying it, yeah, but the weeks keep flying by.
I know. Southwest Ranches, they got Weston, they've got Davie, and they've got one South Federal, south of the tunnel in Fort Lauderdale. And later on today, they're having a free event. They're giving out some of these wax-dipped flowers that are made by Maker's Mark and some tastes of Maker's Mark fine bourbon.
Yeah.
And that will be going on
wow.
at 5:30 this afternoon.
You're onto something. Waxed flowers. I mean, don't bother going out buying flowers for Valentine's Day. Do it like, the phony Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And have like some phony flowers that you can just break out every year and that you can't complain.
That's it. It's so
romantic.
That'll keep on giving. So Primo Liquors and Fine Wines. They do have a website, primoliquors.com. I know they were tinkering with it. At one point, you could ship and order anywhere, but I think they were having some issues. They discovered that, much to the shock and chagrin of everybody, that there's rampant fraud in South Florida. So a lot of the credit cards were getting bitten by it. But that'll be back soon. Meanwhile, the best way to enjoy Primo, go into the store, have a taste. I'll see you out there at Southwest Ranches about 6 o'clock after the final race at Gulfstream, because I'm going to be heading out there. I'm going to meet up with our friend Kaiten Bradar, who made an appearance on the
nice.
earlier this week.
Very brilliant.
Plunge a couple of races and have a drink with Ron Nicoletti and Larry Colmus out at the Christine Lee's. And it's a beautiful thing. I love the weekends. I love Super Bowl Sunday.
All right, this popped up on my Facebook page, memory. Speaking of Let's Eat South Florida, and the Facebook page that Mike Mayo is behind. Let's Eat South Florida, 73,000 subscribers strong and growing. And tremendous.
Almost 74. But I looked at our stats today. 1,000 of the members are from Nigeria. I'm going to have to give them all the boots. So I would subtract 1,000 because those are all bots.
Russian hacking might be involved because it's
I give you
become
credit
so
for getting rid of
significant.
the bots. Good for you.
But anyway, I had a memory pop up, and I guess this is right around the time, right, where I came back married for the second time from Las Vegas. And so I wanted to kind of exclude that category from me personally. I'm going to what is that called when you bow out as a juror or something? I mean, or as a judge.
Oh, recusing yourself.
Yeah, I'm recusing myself from this particular category. But the question was that I asked was, would you rather come back from Las Vegas broke, married, or with a face tattoo? I guess broke would probably be the safest of those three, because marriage could lead to the first condition, right?
I've done the first one many times, and I tell you what, there's always tomorrow, and you can always bounce back. Getting rid of the marriage or the face tattoo, a little bit
expensive,
more
and the face
cumbersome.
tattoo tends to be a
So
little bit
I'll
more
go with
permanent.
broke, because broke is just a temporary condition, and
right.
A score is always just a day away, right? Defo?
All right, he is not coloring his hair. Mike Mayo is with us here, and we'll come back and wrap things up on this Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, and we'll be back and finish things off on this Friday edition of the program on Ion Channel in a moment. Now that it's 9:17.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look?
Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. thank goodness for landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
He'll fight Brian Cox in the locker room. He'll challenge Bill Parcells to a verbal shout out. He'll stare down Johnny Chan while holding pocket twos.
And then he goes
Mike
to
Mayo,
the
the
London
Gambling
Business
Gourmet.
School for the savants.
How about that? Yeah.
I will crush
London
your
School
hopes
of
and
Finance.
dreams with it.
Mike
Oh,
Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us here.
I do all those things, and I also crush your hopes and dreams with a 3-word text giving you the bad news about game one.
Well, this was particularly brutal, Michael. I thank you for doing that.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
Yes, you were the Grim Reaper, Mike Mayo, delivering the bad news about our chances on the Deal Volkswagen run for 71 with the over proposition we had on the Marlins to win 71 or more games this past baseball season. They went into the tank early, stayed there throughout, and had a miserable year that, it could only be explained away by the fact that they are the Miami Marlins, which, we had to be foolish to get involved in that proposition to begin with. We cashed one out of 4 years, I believe, on that prop.
Yeah, that's not a good baseball. Maybe not. Baseball not been very, very good to you.
I'm
Chico
pretty
Escuela, but-
successful in baseball pools. A couple of fascinating pools that we were in, and a very entertaining way to enjoy the baseball season with this 500 or better for the week pool that I was involved in. Which you have to pick a team. It's kind of like a survivor pool. You have to pick a team to go 500 or better for the week, and then once you've picked a team, you can't use that team again. And fascinating. I mean, season-long intrigue into the baseball season. 2 a.m, a game you can't see because I don't have the MLB Network. You're following it on your computer, watching the little red dot replace the second out, and you're screaming that they brought in Kenley Jansen in a Dodger game at 2 a.m. because he's just given up a home run to lose the last 6 games he entered, and he's going to do it again. But no, I mean, there are many ways to enjoy the season with those season-long props.
Well, what I'm saying now is what season, and now you have that kind of Vegas question again, except when you're a Marlins fan, would you rather have a lockout continue infinitely, or would you rather have the season actually start on time, or do you want maybe a abbreviated 4 or 5 month season that maybe they'd have a shot to get a little hot somewhere and maybe hide some of the gaps and the holes if you get a shorter season.
It's ugliness. It's a shame. You go there, the atmosphere. It's a nice place, whatever, facility wise, but the atmosphere is so flat there. It's absolutely insane.
So no, I mean, I don't know if there is going to be a season. I assume the cooler heads have to prevail at some point because it's just posturing and negotiating. But meanwhile, we have one more football game to enjoy before we have to wade into that nonsense and then wait for the inevitable playoff hopes of the Panthers to be sky high and then come crashing down, falling
Mr.
flat on their
Cynic, there you
face
go.
in their first round. The curse of the what's the Vinny Viola and Doug Sifu. This is what you get for kind of flaming me on
attacking
Twitter.
Mike Mayo personally on Twitter.
Don't attack my credibility, man.
Unbelievable.
That's all I
All right,
got.
we have to run. So your opinion is that the Bengals will win based on the fact that you have the possibility of me treating everybody to lunch at Skyline Chili in Sunrise, the last remaining location of this slop house that nobody in their right mind would ever bother to engage or indulge in, any of their food.
That is my route, and my opinion is that by halftime I will be rip-roaring drunk.
Thanks to Primo Liquors. All right, Michael, always a pleasure. We'll catch you on the lunchbox later on today, and you're going to be out at a Cut Above here locally for you.
We'll have
Mike
Doreen
Mayo fans.
Christensen talking some Valentine's
she's
Day
great.
deals.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Yeah. So
all right, so
Valentine's
you don't
Day.
recommend plastic flowers as a permanent bailout in case you forget to get flowers on Valentine's Day, because That's going to be my new thing. Mustang happens to be in a room here, and she's looking at me.
I got no girlfriends.
How much lower could you sink the Forest?
No romance, no attachments. One ex-wife, one daughter. I've already bought the greeting card for my daughter, so I'm all set. The rest of the
I usually wait till the
gone.
last minute, and all they have on the bottom shelf is "Sorry for your loss." So I end up scratching that off and going "Happy Valentine's Day." All right, Michael, thanks for being with us.
We love you.
Always a pleasure. Lubie, great job all week long. Our Super Bowl build-up. Mark Lawrence, sensational on the show today. The Professor, I think the best segment we've ever done was the Professor's performance there.
Amazing.
Over under prop bet on the anthem. The analysis was sensational. And I don't know, did he hire a comedy writer or something? I mean, I know he's a very funny guy, but
he's a funny guy. He put it together. Great job.
But he delivered it too. Did he stop chewing tobacco? I mean, there were no breaks in the action, nothing. It was fantastic.
I think the video is a great thing for him because he always had a weird phone connection. I think it really allowed him to just go and not have to worry about sounding clean or whatever.
All right. Good luck. Enjoy your Super Bowl party. We'll see you guys Monday with our post-game reverse analysis. I told you it was the Rams all the way. And we'll come up with some reason why we weren't wrong in our opinion about the game, which we pretty much sat the fence on anyway. So, great position to take. For Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest. For all the people at Ion Channel, we thank you so much for tuning in, viewing. And, of course, you can also catch this thing on 5 Reasons Sports Network, which Lubie says has wild audience participation there. And later on Believe Podcast Networks, we'll have a very special guest coming up from Radio Row for the Super Bowl on that as our coverage there continues. And we'll see you Monday at 7 a.m. on Ion Channel as we leave you on that.
The time.
It's 9:24.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.